Hi everyone, I'm Hari Bhairedi, co-founder and COO here at Phenom. Thank you for joining us for Customer Obsession Day. This event is one of my favorite because it represents what drives us every single day. The belief that our success starts and ends with our customer success. Customer Obsession Day is a highlight towards our goal of helping billion people finding the right work. Customer Obsession Day isn't just another webinar or a virtual event. It is a checkpoint. Are we truly helping our customers realizing measurable value? At Phenom, we know that technology alone doesn't transform talent experience. We need people, we need doers, we need partners, and we need users who can learn, and we need a lot of strategies and feedback from them. It's the trust we build together that turns innovation into impact and strategy into value. We are building a customer development framework by stages. Crawl, walk, and run. These are the three stages. Crawl stage, it's about alignment, being able to define success and build a foundation for measurable outcomes. Walk stage, strategy comes to life. Success becomes visible through efficiency, engagement, and ROI felt across every level of the organization. Run stage, we reach maturity and momentum. AI, efficiency, and innovation are the mindset and becoming scalable and sustainable and self-fueling. Every new capability we are building, every partnership we are strengthening, reflects that the same crawl, walk, run mindset. It's a continuous improvement through sharing success and sharing feedback at every corner. Looking ahead, our customer-facing teams are focused on one mission: value realization at scale. Three key areas we are focusing on are enablement through expertise. Every customer is guided by the best of the Phenom every step of the way. We are heavily focused on driving our platform optimization workshop to successfully drive operational efficiency and personalized experiences with our customer platforms. Predictive success. Leverage AI to anticipate needs before challenges arise, especially around our fraud agents that allow recruiting teams to engage with ease and candid confidence. Community and advocacy. Empowering our customer to share their stories and inspire transformation across the talent ecosystem. When our customers win, when real value is realized, we all elevate the future of work together. Speaking of together, I am excited to invite everyone to IM Phenom 2026 happening March 10th to 12th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It is the ultimate talent experience conference, a global gathering of thousands of HR leaders, innovators, and visionaries shaping the future of hiring, development, and retention through AI, automation, and experience. This will be our second year at Pennsylvania Convention Center in Philly and sixth annual IM Phenom conference for Phenom. Come and be a part of the community that redefines what's possible in the world of work. Together we'll celebrate innovation, connect, and next era of intelligence. To our customers, thank you for trusting Phenom as your partner in your transformation and mission. To our teams, thank you for living our mission every single day. Customer obsession isn't a slogan. It is our business model. It is how we create impact. It is how we will continue to lead, help a billion people find the right work. Thank you for being part of this journey, and thank you for an incredible Customer Obsession Day.
Today is our second annual Customer Obsession Day, where we show the industry why Phenom wakes up every day. Our purpose is to find a billion people the right work, and that purpose is only achieved if our customers are successful. For far too long, our industry measured success with a simple checkbox: go live. But we know the truth. Flipping a switch on new software is not the destination. The real work and the real reward is in unlocking the promised value and proving the return on your investment. Last year, we made a promise to our customers that proving that return on investment starts with full transparency. Transparency about the journey we undertake as partners. We pledged to prepare you for our customer journey, what you need to know to be successful, and hear from our customers on what was successful for them. You've always known Phenom to be a company leading the market in product innovation and pushing the boundaries of what is possible in HR tech. This year, we're not just looking at product innovation, but also how we innovate our service experience. During last year's Customer Obsession Day, we focused on the post-go-live support experience. This year, we have a great day that shows the customer experience during implementation pre-go-live, as well as your value realization after go-live. As we look at service innovation, we are in a very exciting time right now with AI. Inserting AI into our service experience gives us so much opportunity to quickly and accurately automate low-value tasks in the customer journey so that our teams can put more focus on the high-value tasks that better help you realize value. As we analyzed the implementation journey, we found many areas where we could improve the experience for our customers. There were a few themes that we have tackled this year. We're seeing some early results, but there's a lot more work to be done. We took on an initiative this year of reducing our customers' effort during the service journey by 50%. We found that if we focused in 3 areas of our customers' journeys, speed, effort, and quality, that we could make a significant impact in their experience. So we went about it by breaking down the implementation tasks so that we could quickly and easily identify which tasks could be automated versus which tasks needed to be human interaction. Inserting AI into our pre-contract journey also gives us a quick and easy way of ingesting input from our customers, feeding it into the tools that Phenom built to automate platform configuration. Then, matching that against the industry-specific best practices of our 700 plus customers allowed us to exponentially speed up our implementations. We could accelerate project phases like discovery that might take up to 12 weeks in less than 2 weeks. We can also present a first view of our customers' data in a fully configured tenant in a matter of days or weeks. This allows us to go through a discovery workshop with a full visual for our customers that they can respond and react to our recommendations in real time rather than the offline back and forth. Not only does this reduce discovery, but it also streamlines the user acceptance testing so that it becomes less about quality testing and more about customer readiness. We are seeing that project durations are 4 to 5 times as fast as before. Customer effort is as much as 10 times reduced from previous Phenom implementations. And the UAT is as much as 75% fewer tickets than before. These gains allow us to focus more on enablement readiness and change management to truly prepare our customers for value. We are using AI not just in the implementations, but also for our technical support and seeing significant gains there also. We've been using AI for pattern analysis on our service tickets to identify where we can enhance the product in order to reduce the amount of service tickets you need to log with us. We've reduced those service tickets by 23% since the beginning of the year and are targeting 50% reduction by the end of the year. We also use AI for enhanced monitoring of the Phenom platform, as well as for self-healing integration issues, which ultimately reduces your team's effort. For Phenom, AI is not just something that we have used in our platform for years to bring massive productivity gains to our customers. AI is a transformation practice where we are constantly evaluating what makes sense to automate versus what must remain human-driven engagement. This balanced discipline is what continues to enhance our customers' experiences. You can continue to see these commitments to service speed, quality, and effort reduction across the rest of this year and into next year. Now, today's agenda is your roadmap for value realization. We've designed these sessions to give you the frameworks, the tactics, and the mindset to win in every stage. You will explore 3 core chapters in this journey. Launch. You'll learn how to build an ROI-focused strategy from day one, so your platform delivers value the moment you go live. Expansion and adoption. We'll show you how to scale for maximum impact and drive the deep adoption that truly transforms your talent lifecycle. In maturity, you'll hear proven strategies for achieving sustainable long-term growth and a cycle of continuous value. You'll hear from our experts in the company in our account management, customer value, global professional services, solution architecture, and global customer care teams. However, you won't just hear from us. You'll hear from 15 customers who will give you unfiltered insights on what they learned, what made them successful, and what ultimately fosters a great partnership. At the end of this, I hope we prove to you that we are truly obsessed with making sure our customers are successful. We only succeed when you do. Full stop.
Welcome everyone, I'm Allison Ebling, Senior Director, Global Customer Care. I am thrilled to kick off our sessions today on the path to value realization. Think of Customer Obsession Day as our version of story time, but instead of fairy tales, you're getting real aha moments from clients who've been in the trenches and figured out how to make the platform really work for their people. Spoiler alert, these stories are less once upon a time and more, wow, I wish we started doing that yesterday. We'd like to say our platform delivers lasting impact through 3 transformative stages, what we call the methods to our madness: value launch, value expansion, and value maturity. Each one helps your organization discover, amplify, and sustain the business impact of your talent experience solution step by step. First up, value launch. In our second chapter, this is where we set the stage for success, not just flip a switch and hope for the best. We work with you to line up the platform with your unique goals and challenges. Hear from clients like Serco about implementation and change management, followed by real-world tips from clients like CAI and University of Missouri Healthcare, giving their perspective on how they keep things running smoothly. Then comes value expansion. In Chapter 3, this is where we build on those early wins and really start to scale. We help you explore new use cases, connect processes, and get more people across your organization interacting with the platform. It's not just about more adoption, it's about more value. Learn from UPS and Southwest alongside testimonials from Crow and Regions. Finally, value maturity. In our final chapter, this is where your platform becomes a well-oiled machine, powering continuous improvement cycles and delivering predictive insights. At this stage, it's not just a project, it's a part of your organization's DNA. It evolves with you, supports new goals, and delivers ROI year after year. This is where you'll hear a customer spotlight from Baylor Scott & White Health and Bright Horizons, followed by governance and change management lessons from Truist. So as you listen today, think about where you are on this path and where you could go next. It's a new chance to deepen the value you're delivering to your organization and your people. And stay tuned for an exclusive offer throughout today's event. We're here to guide you, cheer you on, and make sure every step you take turns possibility into progress and investment into impact. All right, let's dive in.
So, you've secured funding for a new SaaS product. Congratulations! If you're anything like the hundreds of leaders we connect with every year, at some point you're going to need to show the ROI from this new venture. Today, we'll explore how you can set yourself up for ROI success and continued SaaS investments. First, we need to understand ROI in the context of SaaS. ROI isn't just a retrospective number. It's a strategic, forward-looking metric that guides smarter decisions. For SaaS, ROI comes from your product's impacts on revenue, its ability to streamline processes, and cost savings compared to the investment you have made. Once you know that you're going to buy, you need to focus on the outcomes it can drive. Aligning the expected business outcome to your organization's strategic goal is critical for measuring future success. Have a baseline for what success will look like. Is it cost savings, greater efficiency, improved end-user experience? Maybe it's accelerated growth. This alignment helps you set the right strategy, select relevant KPIs, and communicate the desired outcomes to your team early. Part of understanding the whole ROI picture is understanding what components truly matter. We see the greatest success when our customers factor in the total cost of ownership. It's not just subscription fees, but also setup, integration, ongoing support, and employee training. Compare this to the anticipated benefits. Will you reduce time to market, automate processes, decrease churn, or potentially upsell existing customers? Use ROI formulas to calculate the expected financial impacts to your organization. While ROI is important, the real icing on this cake is value realization. We want to adopt a value launch mindset. Configure your SaaS product quickly for your most urgent needs to show quick wins and staying power of your new platform. How quickly does your team see real improvement from using the product? Document these early successes to build momentum and reinforce buy-in across departments. Building ROI and proving value is an ongoing process. So, after launch, perform regular reviews. Compare anticipated versus actual ROI, identifying what's driving or hindering your returns. Audit usage patterns to eliminate underutilized licenses and optimize your subscriptions. Once you see how far you've come, it will be easier to justify and fund future expansion opportunities. The goal is to foster a culture of adoption and data-driven decisions. Creating an effective ROI and value plan are critical components to that culture journey. As you look to get started, prioritize onboarding, offer continuous training, and be flexible. Adjust your strategy based on the data that comes in so you get the right outcomes you've committed to the business. Getting started with a SaaS product isn't just flipping a switch. It's about aligning on outcomes, calculating true costs and benefits, and continuously optimizing all aspects of usage. At Phenom, we call it a path to value, treating ROI as an ongoing journey that ensures every dollar you've invested contributes directly to your organization's success and growth.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I want to highlight one of the most strategic moves you can make for your Phenom implementation, building and leveraging your CRM first. When we talk about driving platform adoption and measurable outcomes, the CRM isn't just another system. It's the heartbeat of modern talent acquisition and the cornerstone for long-term success. Begin by imagining all the candidate information, resumes, interactions, and feedback living all in one accessible place. With a CRM-first approach, you build that single source of truth. This isn't just organization, it's power. Recruiters, hiring managers, and partners can collaborate seamlessly, reducing redundancies and minimizing errors while ensuring every candidate feels seen and understood. The CRM's true magic lies in the automation. From personalized outreach to guided interview scheduling, your team can nurture candidate relationships proactively and not reactively. Automated check-ins and relevant content reminders keep your talent pool warm, interested, and motivated. You never lose touch. You build lasting talent communities that are ready for future roles. The The Phenom CRM scales as you grow. There's little IT complexity, so you empower your team to start engaging candidates immediately. The faster you get the CRM up and running, the quicker you drive adoption, not just of the CRM, but of your whole talent experience platform. That means decreased time to hire and improved operational ROI from the start. Leverage CRM analytics to understand what works and what doesn't. Track every interaction, where candidates engage, how they respond, and what drives their interest. These insights help you refine strategies, personalize communications, and adjust your approach for better results. The result? Higher engagement, stronger offers, and improved retention. Candidates judge your brand long before they apply. Utilize the CRM to launch campaigns and automations that are tailored and positive, helping your organization stand out in a crowded marketplace. Share your story, culture, and opportunities directly, reinforcing trust and reputation. Leading with your CRM isn't just a tech choice, it's a must for Phenom implementations. It builds a foundation for meaningful relationships, faster adoption, smarter decisions, and ultimately stronger business outcomes. Invest in the CRM first to unlock the full value of your talent platform and put candidates in your brand at the center of every experience.
Hello, 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 and thank you for joining today's session, this particular session. We are joined today by our esteemed guest and longtime customer and partner, Jeff from McCain Foods, who leads their talent acquisition enablement team. Today, we'll be exploring McCain's customer journey with Phenom, focusing a lot on implementation, value realization, and really particularly the role of effective change management along the way, which is really critical. Jeff, you want to take a quick bite to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you. So I'm Jeff. I've been at McCain for about 7 years. We've been a customer of Phenom for a while. We went live just over a year ago. Happy to be here to kind of share a little bit about our journey.
So I'll start right with you've participated, Jeff, in a lot of rollouts and strategic alignment, I know, in your long journey with McCain. So to set the stage, when we talk about customer journey planning, I'll jump right into it. What were your initial priorities during your Phenom implementation at McCain a little over a year ago, like you mentioned?
Yeah, you mentioned it. We've done this a few times. This was probably the largest scale that we've implemented, and really we're focused on the implementation itself is the one big one, but it's also just making sure the value is realized across the globe. But we have a ton of recruiters coming from all other regions with varying levels of experience using technology like this. So making sure that value is being realized as every step. And then the biggest focus we had last year was adoption. We did all the groundwork of gathering what it was we were trying to implement and what problems we were trying to solve. We worked through the implementation itself, and then for the past year, it was now let's get everyone using the platform and realizing the value for themselves.
Yeah. And we've talked about this, I think, in the last couple of weeks that we spoke, and you mentioned the realizing the value, right? Delivery and implementation is one thing, and realizing the value, and that perspective really aligns with what we are really focusing on in our transformation and shift at Phenom, right? It's not just about onboarding and going live. We really are working to formalize what value realization looks like into the launch phase, initial launch, like you mentioned. You all are in that expansion and maturity phase, a year plus into it, growing usage, uncovering benefits, and really achieving, new adoption and new outcomes and your organizational goals as you've mapped it in your day-to-day operations with Phenom. Jeff, can you share how these phases, the value launch, value expansion, value maturity, how they map to your experience, and from a change management perspective specifically, where that change management played the strongest role in those three stages?
Yeah, so that's a good question because where we had to pivot more than once, I think, with what we thought we were going to have to do as we were going into the implementation and the kind of that value expansion, like not only just the launch, but the expansion. We thought we had a good plan in place for how we were going to get the recruiters using the tool. What we realized partway through was we were focused a lot on the technology, and this is how you use this. So I'll use AI interview scheduling as an example. We we knew early on that this was prior to having Phenom in place. Scheduling interviews was taking a very, very long time, somewhere in between 20 and 30 minutes for a recruiter to schedule one interview. So the value is there, and the recruiters could understand the value. But then when we started to implement and started to train everyone on how to schedule an interview through AI scheduling, it's a very simple process, but we weren't seeing the adoption pick up. And it just scratching my head trying to figure out why that was. And it was the change management approach that I think we realized sort of on our own. And then we partnered with Phenom to help guide us the rest of the way. But it was more about shifting the mindset rather than training on the technology itself. We did start with a carrot model where we were trying to coax people into using it and trying it out a few times. But eventually we did have to kind of move to the stick model and just say this is the new way of um, scheduling an interview at McCain. This is going to save you a ton of time. We've seen it. An interview gets scheduled in about 12 seconds if you're not editing and changing templates and all that. But we had to really shift to the mindset of how you partner with the technology to do your job rather than training on click this, then this.
Yeah. User buy-in, right, is skills training, support, and communication. And so I hear you. And I have to highlight 20 plus minutes to 12 seconds is a big deal. And when you mention buy-in, we talk about cultural integration, behavior changes. I started in my journey in talent acquisition and systems with a people process systems mindset, and the people piece of it, right? We know that behaviors are the hardest sometimes to change, right? It's not just technology and a tool. And so if you've pointed out a lot of adoption and change management things that isn't just a technical hurdle, but it's a people hurdle, which we understand is a really big deal. Can you talk to me about how you navigated that piece of the puzzle, the cultural, regional, even sometimes roles, right? Like the roles are different per recruiter and what they're looking for. And so their process is different. How did you manage those differences at McCain?
Yeah, it's a very good question and a real one that we're still navigating through today. But essentially, it was the unlock was trying to meet them where they are, not assume that everyone's at the same starting line when we're introducing a new process or a new technology like this. Really understand what their roles and responsibilities are in any country around the world, and not make an assumption that, since I'm sitting here in North America, that everyone around the world is sort of doing things the exact same way.
Yep.
So it was really asking those questions, spending the time, having a little bit of patience to understand, if we have to take two steps back and retrain a team on certain processes to make this piece make sense, then we invested that time in doing that. But it was truly involving everyone as much as we could throughout the process, rather than just forcing everyone and saying they have to do it this way.
Yeah. As you we think about that, right? I think about a specific customer nuance, an example where we're trying to tap into different regions and areas because the dynamics are different for each particular area. We're learning at Phenom, successful adoption always involves strong partnership, whether it's bottom up or top down, which we've seen work in a myriad of ways successfully. We are trying to place more emphasis on supporting the change management and the people that you mentioned, and providing the resources and foster those internal champions. It sounds like you're saying earlier, more targeted outreach and understanding your internal stakeholders and some of your organizational internal gaps really are the groundwork for a successful implementation if we're trying to close or understand some of those pre-implementation gaps. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, we're still navigating through some of the nuances with that too. But absolutely, that would be the message.
And if you're thinking about anyone that is rolling out Phenom or embarking on iterating Phenom, and trying to close some of those pre-implementation gaps, whether it's with us as Phenom as a vendor or internally as you as an organization embark on the next steps for your growth. What would you recommend? What are some lessons and next steps that you would advise anyone kind of embarking on this talent acquisition or talent management journey?
Yeah, like I think it's similar to what I just touched on, is like really understand your people, understand the team. Like if you are in a global organization like McCain is, not make assumptions that everyone's sort of at the same starting line. Like I mentioned, it's truly digging in and listening and understanding what the pain points are and where each of your regions or each of your recruiters are trying to get to. Like what's the end goal? Because your goals may not even all be the exact same. But one big takeaway that we learned throughout the process is to focus on digital proficiency. Focus
Mm.
on the mindset that your team currently has, because beyond the fact that we introduced an AI interview scheduling platform, that might be lost on people that aren't even quite sure what AI is or why they should be using it or why it's a good thing. Um, and it took us a few months of trying the same thing over and over, the same approach, trying to retrain on the actual technology. But once we started to realize that the focus on the mindset and the digital proficiency first, get that value realization in there, and then follow up with the technology, that we've seen a massive step forward in terms of adoption since we unlocked that with our team.
Awesome. You've said things I tend to steal. If it's really good, I'll steal it. So thank you, Jeff, in advance. We're really excited to build on these concepts, mindset and digital efficiency, right? And then the technology comes. And so I appreciate your time. We're excited from a Phenom perspective, even with this year's Customer Obsession Day. Thank you all for joining. And in our methodologies as we think about delivery and partnership and long-term adoption, to continue to partner with customers such as yourself and your team. Internal accountability is critical, right? For our customers, it sounds, and what you said to reiterate, and for us as Phenom. And so it's pertinent for a successful launch. We thank you for your time and your insights. Thank you everyone for joining us. We've got a lot more in the sessions that will follow today, from the field and other customers such as Jeff and McCain. Jeff, thank you tremendously, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me.
When it comes to launching any major initiative, whether it's a SaaS platform, a CRM, or talent experience solution, value doesn't show up the moment you go live. Simply flipping the switch on a new technology isn't enough. Real value is the result of deliberate internal value planning. The organizations that truly see ROI are the ones that define before launch what value means for them in practical, measurable terms. That means identifying KPIs that directly connect to your strategic priorities. For talent acquisition, maybe it's reducing time to hire by 20%, improving candidate experience scores from post-interview surveys, or doubling recruiter efficiency through automation. For talent management, it could mean increasing internal mobility placements, improving retention of high potential employees, or reducing the cost of external hiring by driving more internal promotions. Whatever your organization's goals are, these KPIs become your scorecard for success. And here's a fundamental truth. Perceived value is actual value. If your stakeholders, recruiters, hiring managers, leaders, and employees believe they are seeing meaningful impact, they will adopt the solution, use it consistently, and even champion it across the organization. That perception of value builds when two things are true. First, expectations are crystal clear from day one. And second, progress against those expectations is visible and measurable. Setting internal KPIs provides that shared scorecard. Everyone knows what success looks like, how it's being measured, and what progress they should expect to see. This alignment keeps the implementation focused, makes wins tangible, and creates momentum that builds beyond the initial launch. Without those KPIs, success remains vague. Everyone defines it differently, and it becomes difficult to prove impact. But with them, you have performance insurance, a direct, visible path from investment to ROI. So here's the bottom line. Plan for value before you launch. Measure it continuously as you move forward and make progress visible at every stage. When your recruiters see that they're spending more time with candidates instead of your paperwork, or that your managers see top employees progressing into new roles instead of leaving the company, the impact becomes undeniable. And when people see the impact, adoption grows naturally. Momentum accelerates, and the business outcomes you set out to achieve follow close behind.
Hey everyone, I'm thrilled to chat with William Quigley from Serco. He and his team have just wrapped up the initial launch and implementation with us at Phenom. They gave us top scores, I'm happy to report, at every step of the way. So Serco team, thanks for joining today.
Thanks so much. Happy to be here and talk about the journey.
As we're here today to talk about value realization, and let's kick off at the start of this and really when the implementation and the project began. What was most important to you and your team? What did success look like?
Great question. Honestly, we wanted a solution that actually worked for us, not just something shiny. With so many different regions, contracts, and complexities, we needed something that would fit our world. From day one, you were all super attentive. You listened, you asked the right questions, and you helped us shape our goals. You also had the right people in the room, the right roles, to support our global organisation across the various time zones, from Australia, UK, Europe, Middle East, and North America. That built a lot of trust right away and made success feel very achievable.
Were there any moments where you felt like, okay, this is really working?
Absolutely. There was a phase in technical development where we hit a few roadblocks. Part and parcel of any complex global rollout. But the Phenom team was there to support. We get on calls and brainstorm together. The best part was your openness and collaborative approach. It really helped us solve things together. That's when it clicked. That is where we were actually getting value, not just ticking boxes. Phenom was a true strategic partner.
I'm always grateful to hear that. And we think about strategy and we think about that North Star and staying focused because there are always bumps in a technical implementation, right? How did we as the Phenom team keep the project focused on that big end goal, even through those bumpy spots that you mentioned?
Yeah, great question. Look, we had almost daily reminder of why we were doing this. The Phenom team, Serco team, and Nandan was so steady. Even when things got hectic, they kept reminding us where we were headed, what we called our North Star, calm approach. No overreacting, just, okay, let's solve this, move forward. And I always felt heard. The team always felt heard. Feedback was invited, never dismissed. All of our teams work so well together.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It is very easy to get lost in the weeds cross-functionally during these projects, and you want to achieve everything. So it's awesome to hear that you were able to keep that North Star and that guidance.
Yeah, exactly. With regular check-ins and clear communication, we never lost sight of that North Star.
Speaking of collaboration, building trust as that extends itself to success, can you share a specific story about collaboration throughout your project? Maybe when things got sticky, that stood out in this process.
Yeah, sure thing. So during UAT, user acceptance testing, we had a big list of must-haves. As you can imagine, with so many different users and regions involved, some requirements were particularly complex and a few items were challenging to get through on schedule. I remember picking up the phone and the Phenom team just dove in. No blame game. No, it's not possible. Instead, let's see what we can do. Let's prioritize. Let's get creative. There was one late evening session, everyone on the line solving problems together. That felt like a true partnership. It was excellent.
And how did your team feel about that approach? Can you tell us how that cascaded into your team's momentum with onboarding Phenom?
Yeah, they were energized. I'd say that sense of joint ownership made the whole thing so much smoother. We were working with you, not just handing things off.
And as we transition a little bit and thinking about handing things off and long-term success as you navigate through the next stages of realization and iteration, what stands out about how you felt supported, especially as you move beyond go live to give you the confidence to move forward in the platform?
Yeah, that openness to feedback. Phenom didn't just say, "We're done, good luck." The team wanted to know, how can this evolve? What's working for you 6 months from now? That attitude set us up to keep improving, not just rest on our laurels. We've got confidence going forward. If we hit a snag, I know who to call and we'll solve it together. A true partnership.
Yeah, sounds like a recipe for ongoing value. Long-term collaboration is truly the key.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just today's win, it's knowing you've got partners ready for tomorrow.
And so, as we think about the takeaways and the personal reflections, looking back, what surprised you most about the project?
Honestly, how quickly we gelled as teams. Sometimes you worry about implementation fatigue, but with Phenom, it felt different. It was organized and professional, but also warm, flexible, and genuinely collaborative.
Yeah, we have a tendency to drink our own Kool-Aid. That's wonderful to hear for the team. If you had advice for others, right, those viewing in that are starting a similar project, whether Phenom or just in SaaS in general, what would you share with those folks listening in?
Definitely prioritize people and partnership. Tech is always important, but the way folks engage, respond to challenges, and keep the big picture in focus, that's what delivers real value.
Awesome. I always say people are the best, although imperfect product. Awesome insights. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you for your time. It's always inspiring to hear how our customers form teams and those teams stay resilient. I love how you all had those daily check-ins and reinforcements to keep your North Star in sight and build success for the long run.
Thank you. It was a great journey. Looking forward to what's next.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for watching. We've got tons more customer insights and stories, so stay tuned for what's next in our Customer Obsession Day.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabby Chani, Director Global Customer Care here at Phenom. I'm thrilled to be with you today. So far, you've heard some amazing insights from clients in the same boat as you. Now, we are going to zoom in on a critical but sometimes overlooked part of your Phenom journey: how you structure your internal team. We get it. It's exciting to plan your implementation, prep your workflows, and imagine the big wins ahead. But before you dive in, there is one thing we always recommend: get clear on who's doing what. We've talked about this at past events and even spotlighted default team structures during IM Phenom and last year's Customer Obsession Day. But today, we are digging deeper. We are not planning to show some boring slide decks or org charts. We are bringing in real clients to walk you through how they are set up, how they intake inquiries internally, and how they work with Phenom's global customer care team to stay efficient, aligned, and ready for anything. Why is this so important, you may ask? Because your support structure after go live doesn't just affect how fast you resolve issues. It shapes how confident your team feels, how quickly you adapt to change, and how well you can scale success across your organization. To be honest, it is okay and natural to make and overcome changes. Changes to your structure as you grow, adding Phenom products, or even align with market changes. Change is everywhere. We've said this before. Here is the thing. There is no one-size-fits-all answer to team structure. Here at Phenom, we've seen single champion models in lean organizations, split ownership models across product, support ops, and technical leads, and full champion teams with leaders from different areas, each owning their piece of the puzzle. Every structure works a little differently, but the one thing they all have in common: a clear plan, internal triage process, and direct collaboration with Phenom support. So what's next? You're about to hear from our clients, leaders who've been there, done that, about how they build their internal Phenom team. They will share how they manage day-to-day questions, how they decide when something becomes ticket-worthy, and how they keep things moving even when someone is out of the office. From team size to tools, from training tips to backup planning, you'll get a front row seat to how different companies have set themselves up for success. This is your chance to hear the behind-the-scenes action that doesn't always make it into a plan, but absolutely makes a difference. So here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Rakesh. I'm one of the directors within the Global Customer Care organization, and I primarily lead the teams that support your managed services requests and service requests that come into Phenom. Today, I have the privilege of hosting a very special guest speaker from one of our customers who's going to enlighten us on how they have structured their team to not just support Phenom, but to operate their HR tech ecosystem. So without further ado, Mike, welcome to the call. I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. So I'm head of talent acquisition at Coles Group. So we are a leading Australian retailer, primarily operating in grocery and liquor retailing. So we contribute a large portion of towards Australia's employment. From a recruitment perspective, we will do anywhere in the range of 35 to 40,000 hires per year. The breakdown of that is the vast majority will sit within our operations store network. But we'll also do a portion of hiring within operational leadership. So thinking store managers, retail managers, area managers, things like that, as well as everything above store. So that's your above store operational leaders, as well as corporate recruitment. In addition to that, we will also look after all of our contingent hiring, our contingent workforce within from a corporate context, as well as centrally manage all of our talent marketing and continuous improvement, particularly around how we partner with Phenom.
That's massive and very impressive. So with such a complex ecosystem that you have, I think it'll be very insightful for our audience to understand how your team's organized around or structured around supporting Phenom as a platform for your internal consumers who rely on you for their hiring needs.
So, I mean, in terms of the broader context of talent acquisition, we have our operational teams that are across our what we call operations, which is all our team member hiring across our operational network. Operational leadership, look after all these leadership roles, and we have our corporate teams. Alongside those, we have what's called our talent attraction team. Within that sits our talent marketing and continuous improvement teams. So specifically from a Phenom interaction perspective, our continuous improvement team are really dedicated to how do we optimize and drive efficiency and effectiveness around how we hire. Big portion of what they do is looking at our systems and processes and ways of working, primarily from a Phenom perspective. So that team will be the conduit between our operators, our operational recruitment team, and partners like Phenom. So they will work very closely on any enhancements, updates, changes that we're making, as well as continue to identify opportunities around where we can drive improvements around. It might be automation, speed, efficiency, whatever it might be. They also have the talent marketing team. Now they will look after everything from a content perspective. So everything you see on the career side, campaign management that we do is all driven out of that team. More broadly, outside of TA, we work very closely with our technology business, which look after all of the technology infrastructure across Coles. So they primarily look after things like success factors, which is what Phenom is seamlessly integrated into. We also have a technology team within our broader people and culture function that are the service owners for success factors. So there's a triangle of interaction there between technology, what we call our knowledge system and processes, which is our P&C technology team, and my continuous improvement team, who work very closely together to manage that ecosystem between Phenom and success factors.
Fantastic. So you've got a very well-structured organization, as I can hear it. So can you give us an example? For example, if you run into an issue of something's not working, Obviously, you have multiple teams. So how does the structure help you to get to the bottom of which part of your HR ecosystem needs to look into it? How do you resolve it quicker?
Well, I think the benefit of having an embedded resources that are dedicated to looking at your technology, i.e., my continuous improvement team, is that we are able to jump on when there is an issue. One, we're able to proactively manage it. So we will typically identify issues before they're known issues. But also if something does happen, we're able to mobilize on it very, very quickly and diagnose where the problem is, which means that if it is a infrastructure problem, an integration problem, or actually it's been driven by an issue coming out of success factors, we're able to dig into it and identify what the issue is very, very quickly, and therefore pull in the right resources, as opposed to experience sometimes with decentralized, more centralized functions looking after this. It's time to triage a ticket. It's time to investigate, understand where the issue is before you can then mobilize and actually address the issue. By having that dedicated resources in TA, I think it means we can move a lot more quickly to identify what the problem is and therefore jump to solutioning it.
That sounds very efficient. Now, you've been live with Phenom for a number of years, and I'm sure you've gone through phases of evolution. So has your team structure specifically centered around Phenom, has that changed over time, or did you have to make adjustments?
So we did not have what we term now as the continuous improvement team prior to Phenom coming in. That was more around training and enablement of the team. Whereas when we brought Phenom in, it was new technology. What we put in place was a starting point, and we were very aware of the fact that that was going to need to evolve, change, and improve over time. So we repurposed resourcing in the team to be focused on continuous improvement. And while we'd love it to be wholly continuous improvement, it was also working very, very closely with Phenom around the opportunities that we had on the solution which was in place, and how do we continue to elevate that. So we've had that in place now for just over 4 years. In that time, we started with our volume hiring solution, which was a custom build with Phenom, and we've now moved into our the individual hiring, which is your core product, which is introducing AI and an Outlook integrated into scheduling and things like that. We're getting to a point now where we're moving much more into a BAU phase, where accelerated and continuous improvement, optimizing the solution post implementation is starting to alleviate a little bit, and we're moving into more of a BAU phase. So has it changed since the implementation? Not really. But moving forward, it will change a little bit. What we're looking at now is moving towards more of a centralized resourcing support model, where some of the resources looking after Phenom might actually sit within our P&C technology function, so that capability can be used across the broader function.
Makes total sense. So Mike, here's that moment where we would love for you to share a story from any of your recent engagements where you may have tried to make certain changes or optimize operations on how your structure really paid off. Something that's high priority, where all of what you spoke about, building an efficient support structure, how has that really helped? So if you could share a story, that'll be wonderful.
I think a good example is probably actually the expansion of the Phenom solution into our corporate and operational leadership hiring. So that was building on the volume solution which we had in place, and implementing your base product, which ultimately is a different tool. And so there's a lot of complexities around how do we run those two in parallel, and which created a lot of complexities from an integration perspective. So actually having a dedicated team who understood our ways of working, processes, systems intimately, meant we were able to plan and foreshadow how that needed to run from the outset. It really helps you speed up your discovery and scoping phases, because you understand what the implications are going to be. But being able to have a really close relationship with our technology and our P&C digital teams was, again, a huge enabler for how we were able to roll that out. You're able to mobilize the right resources onto the right work at the right time. And I think that only comes from having subject matter expertise, but also having highly collaborative and integrated teams who all understand the ecosystem that they're looking after collectively.
Thanks for sharing that with our audience, Mike. Now, in conclusion, I know you're uniquely positioned where you're dealing with this high volume hiring and you've pivoted into using Phenom for your one-to-one or niche hiring as well. So what advice would you give to, our other customers who are dialing in, listening into this, on how you suggest they set up their systems to better support the Phenom experience?
I think if you're talking about you've gone through the project, you've implemented, you've launched, you've gone live, what are some of the things that I think are important? I think if you can have dedicated resources, fantastic. If not, I'd have dedicated SMEs within the team, again, that intimately understand the system and can partner proactively, particularly probably in that first 12 months post-implementation. Doesn't matter what technology it is, there will be bumps along the road. There are opportunities for improvement. There are going to be things you need to respond to. And I think being able to do that quickly and effectively is really important, particularly within that first month period, from a continuity perspective, but also from a human perspective, and maintaining that level of trust and credibility in what it probably is a very new piece of technology and new way of working for people. The cultural shift and the changes in ways of working is probably harder in some ways than the technology implementation. So I think having dedicated resource, at least post-implementation for a period of time, is something I would definitely advise. I think the other piece I would advise as well is that everyone manages technology and issue resolution differently. What I would advise is you work really closely with your Phenom support and CSM representatives to really understand and get clarity on what are the ways of working around how you respond to issues or manage changes. Because if everyone is clear around roles and responsibilities through those processes, they'll be a lot easier and smoother to manage.
Well, thank you so much for sharing those pieces of advice with our audience, Mike. It was wonderful listening to your insights. We really thank you for your time and sharing all of the wisdom with me and the audience. Thank you.
No, more than welcome.
Hi, Stacy. Wanted to take a moment just to say thank you at the beginning of our session for coming to talk to us about how you prepare, triage, and support Baylor Scott and White. But before we dive too deep into my questions, it'd be great to have you give a brief introduction and tell us a little about yourself.
Of course. Thank you so much, Sean, first of all, for having me. I'm so glad to be here with you today. So as you mentioned, I'm Stacy Wells. I work for Baylor Scott and White Health as a talent acquisition programs advisor. I know that's kind of little bit of a mouthful there, and often sharing my title leads to a lot of puzzled looks. So what that actually means is I'm really the behind the scenes partner to our amazing talent acquisition team, really focusing on our systems, processes, platforms that keep our recruiting engine running smoothly. And then I really work closely with our stakeholders to further drive innovation while being able to identify and closing process gaps. So we're always asking, how can we move faster, work smarter, think more creatively, and occasionally, how do we make this platform stop breaking before Monday morning? And so ultimately, that's really about creating growth, driving those efficiencies, and making sure our recruiters are equipped with the tools they need to find that top talent without getting buried under clunky workflows or outdated systems.
So, Stacy, as we think about the different individuals from your team that are involved with the Phenom platform, I'd like to hear a little bit about what happens before you reach the point of logging a ticket with us when one of your team members needs help.
Absolutely. Great question, Sean. So before a support ticket ever makes its way to Phenom, there's a little bit of detective work that happens behind the scenes to really ensure that we're escalating the right issues with the right context. So we typically start by logging the concern through our internal ticketing system, which we use ServiceNow. Through questions and issues will also come through our Teams messages and emails. But once it's flagged, I really take the lead on researching that particular issue, attempting to recreate it, and then gathering any relevant details for that concern. This really helps determine whether it's a true platform issue or if it's something that can be resolved internally. The goal with that is really to lean into our available resources to minimize that unnecessary escalation and be able to provide Phenom with clear, well-documented cases when that support truly is needed. I've personally become quite acquainted with the Phenom support documents and Explorer tools in my role. And then I've also consistently joined our product release calls and really set aside time each week to do a deeper dive into some of the different products. So it might only take 20 minutes to really, truly immerse yourself, but the clarity and insight that you gain are truly well worth that time spent. And so this approach really helps streamline the resolution process, but it also strengthens our internal understanding of that platform.
Okay. And then when you finally do make it to the point of deciding to log a case with Phenom, what are the things that you're trying to keep in mind as far as ticket creation? What are you making sure makes it into the ticket? And how do you make sure that everything is prepared for a good start?
Of course. So similar to what I just shared with you, we do try to take that proactive and thoughtful approach to ensure that ticket is clear, complete, and justified. So we will achieve this by including any relevant screenshots or video if it's needed. This will provide that clear context. And then it's just as important to define the end goal and current experience by answering key questions. So what were you trying to do? What actually happened? And then what was the ideal outcome that you expected? So this level of detail is incredibly helpful, not just for that clarity, but really for efficiency when working with the Phenom support team. By the time the case is created with Phenom, at that point, it should be well documented, clearly defined, and then ready for that action. So hopefully we're making it easier for the team to jump in and help us more effectively.
Yep, those are all great things to keep in mind for working effectively with the support team. One of the other questions I had is I'm wondering throughout your journey, as you learned more about Phenom, as you learned more about how we work together, how your processes might have evolved over time.
Certainly. It's, been a bit of a trial and error effort. We have certainly evolved over time. I think the most notable evolution, if you will, would be our decision to elevate to a platinum level service support with Phenom. So really being able to engage with you, Sean. I'm not going to say that we're high maintenance, but I might be just a tad high maintenance. And I know that relationship and that conversation with you has really helped our team quite a bit. And this shift was driven by the realization that our team moves fast and we needed a support partner who could really keep pace and provide more strategic and connected assistance to us. I mean, we have over 100 recruiters, sourcers, different stakeholders all using this platform. And so it became pretty crystal clear that individual tickets alone weren't really telling us the full story. So just as I had worked internally to connect the dots across multiple teams and issues, we found that we really needed someone on the Phenom side who could tie all of those threads together and really be able to see patterns, identify any root causes, and then understand those overlapping concerns. So definitely since making this shift, we have seen measurable improvement. So whether that's been quicker resolutions, fewer back and forths, just overall stronger alignment, where our tickets are more focused, the communication has been a lot smoother. And we are getting to solutions a bit quicker. So it really has been a step forward in building a more efficient and strategic support process, Sean.
I'm glad we were able to deliver on the promise of that premium support package. And I certainly don't think of you as high maintenance, but if we're both focused on getting to the bottom of an issue in a thorough manner and solving it completely, I'd say that's a good way for our teams to work together.
Well, thank you, Sean.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Ebling, Senior Director of Global Customer Care here at Phenom. Today, we're here with my friend Kendra from CAI to highlight how even a small team can run an efficient, well-structured internal triage process that makes working with Phenom support smooth and successful. I want to dive in and hear about her practical steps, habits, and tools that she uses, even those basic ones that help avoid unnecessary escalations, can improve ticket quality, and keep adoption high. So Kendra, we've talked many times. I want you to introduce yourself to everyone and tell them about all the hats you wear.
Hi, I'm Kendra, Systems Administrator Lead at CAI and the internal Phenom SME here. I was recruited to help implement the Phenom platform and support our talent acquisition team with adoption. Being a team of one, my day is really driven by the most urgent or high priority items. If there's an issue affecting multiple users, that's where my focus goes. I also work to make Phenom as intuitive as possible, so our recruiters feel confident navigating and using the platform.
So now that we know a little bit about you and some of the hats you wear, let's paint a picture of who comes to you with Phenom inquiries or ideas, and then how do you work with them? So maybe what is your line of communication?
So typically TA leadership will come to me, recruiters with their ideas, our HCM team and comms I interface with, as well as our UX teams for the career site. When it comes to, how these ideas come about or the conversations, anything that's related to Phenom, I'm typically included on. So if that's about feasibility of the platform, usage, enablement, testing, and troubleshooting, all of those things, I'm in the conversation. Typically we are also doing like quarterly process reviews where we get our user feedback. So we're getting ideas and I'm managing kind of that roadmap of those ideas and where we can potentially work with Phenom to get some of those in, whether that's, a future change request or MSR, or if it is, something that we want to implement in the future.
And I think your company uses Teams, right? So are your colleagues reporting issues directly to you through Teams, and then you're the first line of defense?
Yes. So typically it'll start with a ping to me about something's not working. And then from there, my role is really to figure out, to further clarify with the user what's actually going on, what they're experiencing. If I need to, I'll jump on a screen share and view the issue in real time. From there, I'm attempting to replicate the issue myself, and I'm doing further digging to find, if it's a known issue, if it's something that is intended to work a certain way and it's not, if it's something that we can fix ourselves through our configuration change. And this is really me digging into support in the community, looking for, that knowledge or replicating it myself in staging, any way I can kind of validate what the user is expecting and what's actually happening.
And if you can fix it, do you consider those maybe a training opportunity for your team? Do you give extra documentation or articles to help upskill them?
So typically I will share documentation. Everybody on our team has access to the knowledge base, depending on the user, what they're expected to do. I may share documentation when it comes to our recruiting managers. If it's about reporting or something that they want to know more about, if it's our users, I'll typically try to streamline that information to them as well. It really just depends.
I love that you say that all of your users have access to the knowledge base and community, right? So you're essentially, as soon as they're onboarded, enabling them. I guess let's think back now. They've reported an issue to you. You can't fix it. You've exhausted probably all of your resources, whether it's the community, your documentation, knowledge base, looking at old tickets, like you mentioned, trying to reproduce in the stage environment. I think you've also told me in the past that you try to look through CRM, like candidate profiles. You've tried to look through user activity in Service Hub and CMS, but you can't fix it. So walk me through kind of what details you gather and what you report to support to get it resolved quicker and maybe more accurately.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I will clarify the issue with the user. I'll replicate it. Once I can replicate it and determine I can't fix it any further, I will include what I've done to replicate it and where I've potentially hit the wall that I can't do anything further. In that, typically I'm sharing screenshots. I always try and record a Loom if I can show an interaction or something happening in the system to be able to share it with the team that this is what we're seeing. From there, it's really relaying the way it's impacting our business, if it's a higher priority item. And if it's something we've worked on in the past and I know we've put a ticket in, I'll look through our support cases and share like, this is what we've worked on, or this is what had broke in the past, and this is the fix that we were able to implement.
So for the viewers today that may not know what Loom is, can you just give a little tip?
Yeah, it's the ability for you to record your screen and then share a link very seamlessly to someone else to view. What's great about that is I know once the support team views it, I'm notified someone's viewed my video. I can see how many people have viewed it. It's a great tool to use.
So I can say that in my previous life, being a ticket taker, I loved when the clients would send videos, reproduction steps, past tickets, past information. It's making my life a little easier because you're laying everything out on a platter for me so that I can basically get to work a lot faster. So I do appreciate, all the steps that you're taking. I know that in some of our other conversations that we talked about, I don't want to call it this, but it's kind of like a toolkit, right, for managing all of your requests and troubleshooting. And I know you have access to the APM. So how do you kind of use all of these to complement the troubleshooting and complement managing everything?
The APM is really when someone comes to me and tells me about a hiring status for a candidate not reflecting accurately or an issue with a job. That may be one of the first places I go and check. If I'm checking the systems and I'm not seeing the job come over or no update on the candidate status, I'll double check that and see if there's anything that I can pull as far as information of what may explain what's going on. As far as my internal processes, I manage my priorities through a Kanban board, so I can keep track of what we're working on with Phenom and support the TA team most effectively. So typically, a lot of Phenom items are on that, whether it's a product enhancement that will make an impact for us that multiple people are interested in seeing. If it's something we're working on for like within a project with Phenom, if it's a feature or functionality we're looking to enable and test, I'm using that to just track everything at kind of a high level. And then as far as the MSR portal and how I've used it, if someone comes to me with a change that I know we're going to have to engage with Phenom to enhance or make the change, enhance an integration or make a change to the site, I will click through the MSRs and understand if it's an out-of-the-box MSR, what would be asked from Phenom, so I can work with our internal teams, gather that information, and then the out-of-the-box items have a cost associated with them. I can share that cost with the team right away, make sure that our team is bought in to the cost. And if we do submit that, we're going to be able to move forward with that request and essentially try to push that live as soon as we can with Phenom.
I think that is a great tip for our viewers to get ahead of it so that you kind of know what is expected. You know the cost, you know the questions that are going to be asked. That way, it seems like you then go work with maybe some internal team members to gather all of that data, then enter the MSR, and then you don't get any questions back because everything seems like it's all there. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Great. So I know you mentioned you're a team of one. Obviously, there comes a time where you have to take off and you need a vacation. How do you make sure things run smoothly when you're out of the office? Do you have other team members that complement some of the work that you're doing, or a backup plan?
We have a backup plan that we've worked on documenting for all of our systems. I have a team of 2 other platform administrators that own different platforms at CAI. And so we all have backup plans, and the idea is one of us can step in as needed. My backup plan is documented with different internal stakeholders on the TA team that can really speak to some of the main products that we're utilizing or our initiatives that we're working on with Phenom. So really it's as much documentation as we can that's efficient for our teams to use.
Is the documentation specific to CAI, or is it articles from our community?
Well, that's a great question. It's a combination of both. So the documentation, it's like a SOP. So how do we operate around Phenom? What have we implemented with Phenom? What is the main functionality our teams are relying on? And what are the customizations that fall under that we've done as further configurations? So, that is a pretty long document that I put together, but that is referenceable from our entire team. And that is a resource, right? It may point to a support link that gives an overview of that specific, like the user access and what, user access means if we have to provision a user while I'm out.
That's great. So I know there's a lot of other small but mighty Phenom admin teams out there. And if you were to give any of them your best advice, what would you suggest?
I would highly encourage other admins to gather as much user feedback as they can, on some type of regular cadence. So hear from your users, see what's working for them, see where processes could be enhanced. Always look to empower your users. So if you can share information, if you can encourage them to do something themselves in the system.
So you don't want to be a gatekeeper, right?
No.
You're trying to enable everyone so that everyone has this much knowledge. That's great.
Yeah. So we do a quarterly call where we have smaller user groups that provide feedback on all TA systems and processes from the kind of the big picture, where we capture that feedback. I manage that in a Kanban board with like my Phenom specific Kanban board. Just the idea of gathering feedback, showing, a concept demo to get your users buy-in and support, and then being able to test that and push it to our production environment.
So essentially, to sum that up, essentially you're using the stage environment as a proof of concept to roll out future changes and testing. So that sounds
yes,
great. Yeah,
exactly.
All right, Kendra. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your insights and tips today. You've really shown that you don't need a big team to run an efficient, well-structured triage process. It just takes a lot of clear priorities, solid organization, the right tools, and the collaboration mindset that you have. Your approach really proves that the right habits and processes can keep things running smoothly. And it seems like you're preventing unnecessary escalations and tickets are moving way faster. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Customer Obsession Day. I am Corey Sharp, Customer Care Manager at Phenom, and today we're going to be spotlighting the University of Missouri healthcare team to show how a smart team structure and internal triage process drives support success. So today we're going to be looking at how their team is organized, the steps they take before and after submitting a ticket, and how it all comes together. Hopefully you'll pick up a thing or two along the way, so let's get started. Brian, do you want to start with you and you can introduce yourself and share a little bit about your role and day-to-day?
Sure. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate your role in our Phenom journey so far, and just want to say that we're humbled to be invited to participate in the Phenom Customer Obsession Day today. So I'm Brian McCarthy, and I lead the talent acquisition efforts for our health system at University of Missouri Healthcare, which you may hear us refer to as MU Healthcare for the rest of our session today. My role on our team is to drive our TA strategy, ensure that we meet the hiring demands of a growing health system. That means that it's vital that we invest in both the right technology and the right people to govern that technology and support our mission. So to set the stage for what we have going on, we have an aging, complex tech stack, which consists of Taleo for our applicant tracking system and PeopleSoft for our HCM. We launched Phenom in October of 2024, and I've been hands-on with the integration and the adoption process from the start. I'll stop there, Corey, and I'll kick it over to my partner in crime, Rachel, to introduce herself. I'm really excited for everyone to hear Rachel's story today.
Thanks, Brian. I'm happy to be your partner in crime. As Brian said, my name is Rachel Newman, and I serve as our HR systems and branding analyst on our talent acquisition team at MU Healthcare. In this role, I lead our strategic implementation and optimization of our talent acquisition systems and our employer branding and TA marketing efforts. I would say about 80% of my time is focused on managing our Phenom product suite. I serve as MU Healthcare's subject matter expert on Phenom, and am currently completing the admin credential program for the talent acquisition path to deepen my knowledge. I collaborate every day, multiple times a day with our HRIT team to resolve issues and with marketing to align our employer brand across recruitment channels. My work ensures our platforms are efficient, user-friendly, and effectively communicate who we are to prospective talent.
Awesome. Appreciate that from both of you. So let's set the stage for everyone listening now. Brian, can you walk us through how your team is set up today? So who's involved, what roles they play, and how the responsibilities are divided across the different parts of the Phenom platform?
Sure. Great question, Corey. Let me break it down into three key roles that we've built around Phenom besides my role leading the team. First of all, we created a new role, the HR systems and branding analyst, which is the position that Rachel fills for us. So she's our Phenom and Taleo system admin and also leads our employer branding efforts. Rachel's focus is on SME level system administration and functionality within Phenom and Taleo. She has kind of developed her knowledge to be the go-to person. She can answer any question from our hiring managers to our CRM users, and she is the go-to person to train new users when the questions come into us. How does this work? She leads all of our user acceptance testing efforts, which have been vast up until this point, with a comprehensive strategy that we'll probably get a little more into later on. Second, we added a dedicated developer to our HRIT team. Their primary focus is back-end support for Phenom and Taleo. They work side by side with Rachel. I describe them as work besties. If you see one, you see the other. Our developer focuses on things like our API connections, integration requirements, data tables, data feeds, and submitting and managing our defect tickets within the Phenom platform. Both roles share ownership of our internal ticketing system, requiring daily collaboration of who's going to work which ticket that comes in. And the three of us, Rachel, our developer, and myself, join every Phenom call together. It's important that we have a united front so that we can troubleshoot, strategize, and implement changes in real time.
Awesome. Great to hear. So now that we know who does what, let's talk about what happens before a ticket is even submitted. So Rachel, can you share how people usually reach out to you when they run into an issue? So like, what's your thought process? What's that look like? And as you triage, what types of checks you do? Where do you look? How do you decide on the next step?
Yeah. We've definitely learned some things since our go live in October 2024 in this regard. And one of the patterns that's emerged when triaging tickets and issues is that many of our defect tickets are related to the CRM and recruiter experience. So I first want to comment on how we triage recruiter experience issues. We've learned a lot about assessing the scope across multiple users, and we have a couple of internal triage levels to help us get insights that we need before submitting a ticket to GCC. So our first internal triage level is guiding our recruiters to ask, or I should say, report an issue and ask if other CRM users are experiencing it through what we call our Phenom chat channel in Microsoft Teams. So all recruiters and our HRIT team are in that channel so that everyone has visibility to the issues being raised there, and that so that we can really efficiently surface potential system-wide issues. So that channel and the chats that happen within it really help us get a feel for the scope of an issue. And after I've gotten that feel, I often guide recruiters to submit what we call an Ask HR ticket to officially log an issue and launch further internal troubleshooting efforts. So once an internal Ask HR ticket has been submitted on an issue, our internal, what we call our Phenom administration team, receives all of those Phenom tickets. So that admin team includes Brian and me, as well as 2 members of our HRIT team, and definitely one of them being our Phenom developer on the HRIT team. Some of the other structures we have in place for effective triaging internally are, I have a daily huddle with our HRIT developer to stay aligned on anything that requires joint problem solving. We try very hard to discuss issues internally before submitting anything to GCC. We want to put all of the brains that we have behind what we're noticing internally before we ask for time from our GCC colleagues. So that's really how we handle issues that are about the recruiter experience. We have a similar triaging process for our hiring managers. We have the hiring manager application full here. And so our hiring managers, we ask them to submit Ask HR tickets with the issue they're experiencing. And from that point, an internal troubleshooting process launches for me and our HRIT developer, very similar to the recruiter experience issues. So that's kind of how we handle the triaging process for our different end users.
Awesome. So when you come across an issue that's maybe more about user error or training, do you have a specific process that you follow to guide the user in the right direction?
When I notice that someone is reporting an issue that's really just a training need, I always connect with the person having a problem, most often through a quick Teams call. It's very common that I schedule 10 to 15 minute calls with folks to see what they're experiencing. So I take the time to hear what they're trying to accomplish and what barrier they're facing to accomplishing that. And then I do jump in and explain how there is present system functionality to support them in what they're trying to do. And lastly, I point them in the direction of helpful resources to emphasize their learning. So for hiring managers, we have a recruitment process website that is internal to MU Healthcare employees. And that's where we house, learning resources about how our recruitment process works, including Phenom. So I always give them the link to that website if they need that. And then for recruiters who are looking for further education, we have standard operating procedures written about Phenom. We have recordings of past trainings that we have done, internally with our recruiters. And we are often writing, announcements about new Phenom tech enhancements for our team. And so I'll refer to those past announcements when needed too. And the last thing I really wanted to say about this, how do we educate folks about the system functionality, is we have tried to be really proactive in how we deliver system education. So for hiring managers, when we went live with Phenom, we had a series of training sessions. I think Brian and I did 9 training sessions in person and live, around 9. It was a lot. And we also hosted office hours for multiple weeks to connect with people further that way. And then for our recruiters, we try to be proactive in the way of always posting Phenom product changes and enhancements in our Phenom chat channel and Teams again. We really try to be communicative with all end users about any changes that are happening. We also host 1.5-hour Phenom learning sessions every other month for our recruiters so that they can engage in continuous learning about the system, since Phenom is always changing and improving. So those are some of the things we do to make sure people feel confident in navigating the system.
Awesome. All that stuff sounds pretty great to me. So once you've done that initial triage, can you walk me through your next steps for reporting an inquiry to Phenom? So what are some of the best practices you use for making sure it's clear, complete, and ready for the Phenom team to act on?
Yeah. You have seen this evolution strongly, Corey, but I will say I've been definitely improved in the way I write GCC tickets since our go live nearly a year ago. I pretty early on, after working through like a complex defect ticket, realized that I needed to give each ticket a clear structure to make a difference in how effectively I was communicating like the issue at hand and our desired resolution. So now I format every ticket I submit into 4 different sections. I give the issue a clear name. So issue name is the first section. Next is issue description. And in this section of the ticket is where I share any research or findings that I've gathered about the issue at hand. Next, I speak to the issue impact, if applicable. Sometimes in tickets, that's more of an optional section, but if it's really important that I speak to how the impact of this issue is, I definitely include that. And then the last section I include is support requested. When I was early on in writing tickets, and since then I've kind of realized sometimes I didn't make a clear ask of what support I really wanted from the ticket. And so I really take the time now to fill out that support requested, make a clear statement about what help we're really looking for. So I feel this structure really does give GCC everything they need, and what the issue is, why it matters to us, what resolution we're looking for. I often create short screen recordings for the issue description section. I think GCC finds that very helpful. And I find it very helpful because sometimes the issue's evolving, or something about the profile has changed from the time I have reported an issue on a candidate profile, for example. So that's something that I really do lean on when creating tickets, is screen recordings. For urgent issues, I always follow up with Corey via email shortly after submitting the ticket, and you always graciously receive my urgent email. That said, I have become careful about not marking every ticket as urgent, even when it's very tempting to do that, because I've learned from Corey that overusing an urgent flag can make it harder for Phenom to prioritize what truly needs immediate attention. I also try to keep every ticket focused on a single issue, so I try not to loop too many issues into a single ticket, but separate them out into different tickets. And sometimes we are in the situation of submitting a ticket on an issue that we have encountered in some capacity in the past. So if there are past tickets we've worked through on an issue, I will try to reference those ticket numbers in the new ticket I'm submitting as well.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. Yeah, you definitely are someone that everyone should take some hints from regarding submitting tickets. We appreciate how you do it for sure. So, Brian, from your perspective as a leader, how does this structure and Rachel's approach to working through issues impact your team's organization and ability to get quicker turnaround times from Phenom?
Yeah, Corey, for sure. So you've probably already picked up on this by listening to Rachel, but she's one of the most detail-oriented professionals I've ever worked with. We banter back and forth. No, you're the most detailed. No, you're the most detailed. And so we complement each other well in that way. And that the level of detail that she pours into everything from UAT testing to, problem solving to ticket submission is key to speeding up the end game that we're after in all the evolutions that we undertake. So I'd say what makes our structure work here is, a no ego, best idea wins mindset. We all come together. We don't operate in silos. As I said earlier, we collaborate on like every call with Phenom, and that allows us to move fast. And like I said a moment ago, sometimes we can resolve issues from start to finish. Let's hop on a call with Corey. Let's talk about this ticket, and we leave understanding exactly what Phenom's going to do, what date they're going to deliver things, and what testing we need to do on the back end. And we don't require the emails. A year ago, we had emails. We had a lot of different things, and we're in a better place now.
Awesome. Yeah, some great insights there. I've definitely seen firsthand how effective Rachel is at providing the clear, detailed information. So to wrap up here before we close, I'd love to hear some advice from both of you. So what would you tell another company about building the right team structure or triage process for an optimal support experience? Any tips or lessons learned about like maybe the internal alignment, ownership, or collaborating effectively with Phenom?
I'll go first here, Corey. So looking back, I don't know, 2 years ago, my glossy-eyed self thinking I could just implement Phenom. Like, I'm going to do this by myself. I'll pull a couple recruiters in to help manage this where we need to. That was not realized as a successful plan whatsoever. We've had some weeks with a combined over 80 hours of testing needed in a week, to get things moving along with all the different scenarios and all the different, in the throes of implementation, like what can we do to move this forward? And so I never could have pulled it off just trying to manage it all from my seat. There's no way. So my advice, invest in structure, build a team with clear ownership. You've got SMEs, you have tech support, and everybody, the personality trait, the soft skill, the thing you look for when hiring for these roles, in my opinion, is change ready, change champions. That mindset is so important because Phenom is constantly evolving at a pace that is sometimes overwhelming to keep up with. And how do we train a whole organization when we just trained a whole organization on something that's even better today than it was last week? And so you can quickly fall behind if you don't have the right team structure in place to support keeping up with the pace of change. And, I'd say, finally, don't underestimate the power of collaboration. The way we attack things with a system admin, a developer, and, the strategic lead, all on the same page, all collaborating on decision-making, all throwing, the best ideas that they have against the wall. And let's talk about which one, we're going to walk out of the room with as an aligned team. Being on the same page, that's so important, and it makes all the difference for us.
Awesome. Rachel, same question to you.
Oh, thanks, Corey. Yeah, I will just say in slightly different words, I feel what Brian shared, and that is one of the biggest lessons we've learned is that your ATS integration team absolutely needs to have a stake in maintaining your Phenom product suite. So if you're a company out there who is integrating Phenom with your ATS, just developing such a strong partnership with whatever team manages that for you has been an absolute key to, I think, our success. So the other thing the last thing I'd offer is that think of GCC as your true colleagues. They're responsive, thoughtful, and genuinely committed to finding a solution that we're aiming for. And so don't hesitate to ask follow-up questions and to be persistent until you have a shared understanding of what's possible.
Awesome. Rachel, Brian, thanks so much for sharing your perspective on all this. I'd say it's clear that when you have the right structure, clear roles, and a genuine collaboration with the GCC team, support isn't just reactive, it becomes strategic. And we really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
As organizations move beyond initial CRM implementation, the value expansion and adoption stage is where meaningful growth and impact take place. This strategic phase centers on maximizing core CRM functionalities and turning them into powerful outcomes for talent acquisition and talent management teams. What makes the CRM value expansion so impactful? At its heart, a CRM in talent acquisition and talent marketing is much more than just a contact database. It's the backbone for managing candidate relationships, your outreach to candidates, and efficient hiring. As adoption grows, teams unlock several core functionalities. Centralized candidate data, where recruiters get a holistic view of every candidate. From resumes to your interview feedback, this single source of truth means faster decisions and more personalized engagement, eliminating silos and eliminating any confusion of juggling spreadsheets and emails. Automated workflows is another impact. You can schedule interviews, send reminders, and generate reports seamlessly. Your recruiters' routine tasks become automated, freeing up their time to focus on high-impact activities such as building relationships and strategizing on candidate best fit. Another area of impact is personalized communications. With CRM-driven outreach, teams can curate targeted campaigns, nurturing passive candidates and staying top of mind, even before a formal application. This drives engagement and better responses to open roles. Lastly, we have collaboration and analytics. Hiring managers and recruiters can collaborate more effectively. Real-time analytics in the CRM highlight your bottlenecks, drop-off points, and of course, what's working. This helps to drive smarter decisions and continuous improvement. Outcomes that our customers have experienced are speed and efficiency. Studies show CRM adoption can dramatically reduce time to hire, and some organizations see hiring processes streamlined by as much as 30 to 40%. We also see quality of hire. With robust analytics and better candidate nurturing, customers report marked improvements in the relevance and retention of their new hires, up to 31% higher quality according to leading benchmarks. And of course, an enhanced candidate experience. Automated, personalized messaging and transparent processes make candidates feel valued. It boosts your brand reputation and offer acceptance rates. Why is the CRM so critical in talent acquisition, outreach, and hiring? The job market is fiercely competitive, with the most talent passively open to new opportunities rather than actively applying. A CRM empowers your teams to proactively source, engage, and nurture those candidates, ensuring the right outreach is sent at the right time. As adoption grows, your CRM becomes a strategic driver, not just a tool. Teams collaborate better, they make smarter hires, and adapt faster in a dynamic talent landscape. In summary, expanding your CRM usage transforms hiring from reactive to proactive, delivering better outcomes, faster cycles, and even more satisfied candidates and business leaders. That's the power of the real adoption for CRM in talent acquisition and talent management.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next session today throughout our Customer Obsession Day. I have the pleasure and privilege of speaking with the Southwest Airlines Talent Acquisition Team. We're diving into the value expansion stage of that realization journey, specifically how Southwest is achieving long-term recruiting results through smarter hiring workflows, automation specifically, and machine learning. And so to kick us off, it would be awesome, Southwest team, if each of you could briefly introduce yourself and your role at Southwest.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm Adrienne Butcher, and I'm part of our recruitment marketing team here at Southwest. So I've been at Southwest for about 9 years, and I've had a handful of roles, but super lucky now to be part of our talent acquisition efforts. So my main focus is highlighting the kind of employer that Southwest can be through our employer brand, as well as helping to attract the right candidates to Southwest and hopefully keep them at Southwest so they can build their own careers.
And I'm Kristen Ward. I'm on our candidate experience team here at Southwest. And I've been here for about 3.5 years, and I primarily support our flight attendant candidates from the time they submit their application until their first day of training. So, love helping our candidates find a new way and to improve their onboarding experience.
Awesome. Thank you both very much. I'm going to kick off our session with the challenge before transformation. Dun, 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 no pressure. And so we know Southwest is loved for its people first culture. But behind the scenes, hiring volume and velocity, I know, has always been really critical, especially in today's market. Can you tell us what challenges your team was running into before leaning into some of the automation stories and successes that we're going to talk about? Before leaning into those automation driven approaches, what were the challenges you were all trying to solve for?
Yes, yeah, plenty of challenges. So I think really just like any hiring cycle, things naturally shift between like really busy periods, really quiet periods. So when you're in the quieter period, there's a good number of roles, a manageable number of roles posted. There's plenty of time to focus on the details along the way, and the process is really smooth, at least from the posting to offer process. So, but then the challenge really is when things speed up or get busy, it's a different story. Resources are stretched really thin, hiring goals are high. We have a lot of roles posted at once. So that leads to longer screening times, scheduling delays. There's pressure for that higher timeline to speed up. And so I feel like none of us here are strangers to the ups and downs of the hiring cycle, but proactively preparing for those waves has really been on our mind in recent years. And I think it's something we've been chipping away at. And we're still working on it, of course.
And a great example of this is if you've flown with Southwest, you know how special our flight attendants are. They're just so much more than bringing a hot cup of coffee to seat 13A. They're really making a difference when it comes to safety, hospitality, and having a memorable Southwest flight. And on the hiring side, finding those special people to see their careers take flight is a really unique challenge. Over the last handful of postings, for our external flight attendant hiring, we've received thousands of applications within just a few hours. Our highest volume was 21,000 application in 4 hours. So tons of applications, lots of moving parts. And then after application, candidates are screened in batches, flown to Dallas for panel interviews, worked through our background and employment screening process, and then officially invited to a training class. And this process can take months, and improving the overall flow while protecting the candidate experience has been a really big focus for us in the last 2 years.
Yeah. 20,000 plus applicants in a couple of hours is unreal, and no issues with brand and volume for sure. So I think that leads us into the turning point, right? And so knowing what you all know and that volume, and knowing that it takes a couple of months potentially, right? That's our turning point. So what strategies or tools did you kind of align on that helped you really think about, okay, this is how it's going to help us address this issue and get through this volume?
Yeah, so we've been working to improve the process for a couple of years. We've done a lot of testing and we've seen a lot of positive growth. Our first change was utilizing Phenom's screening tool. We developed both written screening questions and questions that require a video response. And we slowly invite candidates through that first step in the hiring process. The tool is such a win-win for us because candidates love the flexibility it provides. They can complete the screening on their own time, and they have multiple takes to complete their responses. And all the instructions to complete the responses are at their fingertips, so they can have that flexibility to do it whenever they have a chance. And it's also a win for our talent acquisition team because the communication is automated, and we can review the responses at our own time as well. And the intuitive process of assessing the screenings keeps everyone on the same page of each candidate's status.
Awesome. I hear two clear things, and we often think about automations from a recruiting end user, but which we have that, right? And those automated communications allowed you all to be more efficient and work and check through those. But you mentioned something, right? The candidate experience, we often think of just from a career site perspective, but that candidate experience and using some of these tools, it seems like it gives them more information and more flexibility, which we're always trying to reach in this current market and the way our candidates use their mobile phones and they need flexibility. They're up at 3 a.m., doing some of these things. So I think that's a good tie-in to automations, not just being about end user experience, but also still very much about the candidate experience. That being said, we talked about problems we're solving, tools we thought about using, starting with the screening tool, right? Tell us about some of your success stories and results. I know I've heard this before. I still get pretty excited about it. I drink the Kool-Aid. So share a real time, if you can, success story where these tools have directly impacted results and numbers and experience, maybe reducing the time to hire or improving efficiency or what have you. Can you share us something real success?
So, looking at the screening tool that we've adopted in the flight attendant posting, we've worked through over the last 3 months, we've saved about 600 hours in using Phenom screening instead of the traditional phone screening interview. And that's just with the flight attendant role. And having such impactful results has really boosted adoption of the tool and made it a no-brainer for our partners to use as well. And I'm going to pass it over to Adrian to talk a little bit about the event scheduling tool because we've adopted that with flight attendants too.
Yeah, using the screening tool made it really easy, like Kristen said, to have our partners adopt and be very open to new tools. So we also adopted Event Scheduler like very short after, which puts also communication streamlined and puts everything right at everyone's fingertips. And that one has saved us an additional 245 hours just in this single posting. So we've brought folks to hire in under a month, which is like sometimes up to like 90% decrease in time to hire. So yeah, both the tools together have been game changing. And for our operation, it's drastic and like keeping us staffed and staying staffed. So together they've been truly so impactful and game changing.
Yeah, the numbers still, again, I get googly eyed. 600 hours in 3 months, or if you add the two from the 245 and a 6, that's 900 hours almost, just for one role, right? And taking your critical role and what's really critical to your business and high volume and creating those efficiencies. A 90% almost decreased time to hire is unheard of, but really exciting to hear about. So now we've seen wins, we've seen successes, we've evolved in this expansion phase and adoption phase. Looking ahead with Southwest, how do you see value expansion continuing with the Southwest and your talent acquisition teams? What's next for you all to think about within your talent landscape going into 2026 and beyond?
We've made slow and steady progress towards improvement in the last couple of years, and all of our teams are starting to buy in. We plan to continue growing those relationships as we grow with our tools and efficiencies. The flight attendant work group has become a great testing ground in our talent acquisition space. Being one of the largest work groups, they're large and mighty, and they have helped other internal customers and work groups embrace the change today. So now our partners are not just open to trying the new tools and processes, but they're really excited about using and learning those tools to improve their processes as well.
Awesome. Again, very, very inspiring, excuse me. I'll probably plaster and use those numbers as I talk to folks and really just relaying the importance of really mastering that expansion phase and iterating into what's next. Before we wrap up really quickly, and again, I thank you both for your time. What advice would you give to another organization looking to drive long-term hiring value, with automations and tools such as screening and the scheduling? Is there any advice you could give to other customers or organizations?
Yeah, I feel like we both probably have our own learning curves and advice, but I think the most important thing that like I've learned and have been trying to share with our teams too is that when it comes to change or building automations or like changing the way your hiring journey looks, you have to start small, show this success, show the huge numbers that we've hit with a tool, 600 hours or show that early on, and then you can scale. So scale can mean roll out to more customers, which we've got the buy-in now. It means scaling to new tools and technologies, which it's a good plug. We are working with Phenom on some like really cool integrations, so we're excited about those to come too. And then also it's always scaling to meet the candidates where they are. So we don't go into it alone. We bring our partners along for the ride. The more that everyone understands the goal and knows how each step is getting us closer, it feels so much more impactful, and it's a smoother journey for sure.
Awesome.
I think from my side of things, I would just say with the automation, the goal isn't to replace the human touch and just kind of keep that at the forefront, make sure the candidates are getting the communication when they need it at the right time. It's been really big for our flight attendants, not overloading them on the front end with anything, but also not overloading them on the back end, or just making sure they have the communication that they need when they need it.
Start small, right? It's okay to start small. We kind of say that in our launch phase. Start small with the idea to iterate, show those successes, communicate very early on, know your stakeholders, whether it's your candidates, and really put time into curating your workflow, right? It is a hybrid of AI and automation, but white glove recruiter touch is what I think I heard. And so those are some really good insights that our customers should always consider, especially as they go through this journey. Thank you both so very much for sharing your story of transformation and customer obsession today over the last few years and the evolution. We're really excited about the successes that you all have seen in the next phase for the Southwest Airlines team, as well as our partnership. Please join me, everybody that's joining and tuning in thanking the Southwest Airlines team. You all are proof that with the right strategy, the right tools and culture, you can deliver hiring outcomes that truly last and are really impactful for your business. So thanks, everyone. We look forward to seeing you in the rest of the sessions today.
Welcome everyone. I'm excited to spend the next few minutes helping you master one of the most impactful tactics in the talent acquisition, creating a career site that doesn't just attract visitors, it converts them into applications. As a product SME, I'll guide you through practical strategies, technical tips, and real-time tricks for building a site that combines your brand story with cutting-edge digital tools and marketing know-how. Your career site is often the first handshake with your future employee. Make sure your homepage navigation and content immediately communicate your mission, values, and culture. Featuring authentic employee spotlights, team photos, and real success stories builds emotional connection and trust. With a robust content management system, you control updates, upload new images, publish fresh videos, and adjust messaging all without waiting for IT or third-party agencies. Modern talent platforms put power in your hands with the self-service CMS tools. You can manage all images, videos, and assets centrally, keeping your brand consistent and organized. Drag and drop widgets like job search modules, the Join Your Talent Community banner, or featured employee testimonials guide candidates to apply or sign up in a way that fits your hiring funnel. Accessibility compliance is built in. WCAG guidelines for color, contrast, and navigation can be checked directly from the CMS, so your site genuinely welcomes everyone. Think beyond listings. Your career site is a key marketing platform for your employer brand. Run experiments easily. Test new headlines, images, or layouts and see what best engages candidates. Launch seasonal campaigns or highlight roles with urgency using tailored landing pages. Those focused pages not only help candidates navigate quickly, but also boost your SEO for job families and higher priority roles. Creativity attracts candidates, but it's data that turns them into applications. Analyze which pages capture attention, where candidates drop off, and what content converts at the highest rates. The CMS lets you quickly rearrange your site, adjust navigation, or swap featured content so you can respond in real time to what works best. Successful career sites are living marketing assets. Set a content calendar so your team regularly updates photos, rotates testimonials, and refreshes featured jobs. A well-organized CMS library means updates are fast and consistent, keeping your employer brand fresh and your application rate strong. So, how does this translate to your teams? Here are top experience areas to consider. Build focus pages for key roles or urgent openings. This drives higher engagement and faster conversion. Keyword rich, targeted pages improve SEO and candidate satisfaction. Not sure what to create? Leverage the CMS AI tools to help you create pages with ideas, images, and content from across your site. Create custom widgets that show relevant testimonials, collect candidate preferences like join talent community or job alerts, and trigger tailored campaigns, segment candidates, visitor, lead, applicant for more precise job recommendations. Tailored job pages by candidate segment offer unique layouts or content for each, improving perception and boosting conversations. Save time by creating global widgets, update once, deploy everywhere. Use theme management tools for rapid style updates, font sizes, button styles, colors without starting from scratch. Clone and reuse themes for consistency while making quick iterations. To create a career site that truly converts, start with a compelling brand story and empower your teams with smart self-service CMS tools. Speed and flexibility in updating content and layout will dramatically improve candidate experience and conversion rates. The faster your site adapts to candidate needs, the greater your hiring success, now and for the future.
Hi, thank you all for joining today's panel. We are talking with the UPS team who just launched a global career site with 29 subtenants, which is a huge accomplishment. UPS team, hi Emma, hi Catherine. Let's start today with what inspired this project. Emma, can you kick us off a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, this effort started with our vision to create a seamless world-class candidate experience. So we realized that given UPS's global footprint, our career site needed to reflect a unified brand while supporting the unique needs of dozens of business localizations. Really, this project initiative was all about elevating both our candidate and recruiter experience on a global scale.
Yeah, adding to that, the career site is truly the front door of our talent brand. It's where many form their first impression of UPS. So our goal was to bring together localized needs and a consistent, modern interface. So no matter where you apply from, you feel that UPS spirit.
Awesome. And so we're talking global, right? We didn't just launch one site. We launched 29, right, subtenants with our global site. How did you keep so many of those moving pieces on track?
Yeah, so for us, it was all about going back to the fundamentals. So having the right resources, having strong project management, being in lockstep with our awesome Phenom implementation team, and of course, above all, having that leadership alignment. So from the start, we defined our North Star: prioritize consistency, enable local flexibility, and deliver on time. So having executive sponsorship helped us move quickly and avoid getting stuck in decision paralysis, which can often happen in projects of this size and scale.
I also believe clear roles and communication were key. With so many teams involved, being disciplined about what needed to launch on day one versus what could wait for later phases helped us hit our timeline.
Awesome. And so when we talk about the launch, right, and being on time, and getting to that first milestone, what were those first 90 days post go live like?
A learning experience, one. But honestly, it was a stabilization period for sure. So with any rollout of this size, you expect a few bumps and challenges along the way. But definitely having that dedicated plan meant we could address issues swiftly and move with agility. So we focused on giving candidates a stable, reliable platform, and then pivoted that focus to gathering feedback right away to inform our next round of improvements.
The collaboration with partners and making sure our support structures were in place really paid off in those early days. Communication channels stayed open, and we tracked site metrics and feedback closely, making quick fixes possible.
Awesome. And I know we're really early on, right? But if you could share, what are the outcomes or benefits you're seeing now? Just a couple of months since launch, what can the UPS team share?
Yeah, the improvements are already tangible. Our candidate experience is much stronger. Chatbot usage, site visits, click-through rates have all increased. So we're seeing the foundational benefits and are even more excited to expand our CRM as well as additional capabilities.
Yeah, and I'd echo what Catherine has said. So we've really proven to ourselves as a team that with really the right approach, we can deliver complex digital transformations at this size scale. And that's truly invaluable as we look at our strategic roadmap and upcoming implementations with the Phenom team.
So we get this all the time. And as we think about more and more on a global scale and the transformation and where the market is going, and as we grow and helping 1 billion people find the right work, any final advice for other organizations, global organizations, enterprise, thinking about a similar project, any advice you could give to those thinking about embarking on the Phenom project?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to jump in here. I would say don't underestimate the importance of having clear project alignment and the right resourcing in place from the very, very start. So keep your guiding principle front and center, and everything else will follow suit.
Also, be ready to listen after launch. The first 90 days are just the beginning. So the work to mature and expand value never stops. It's very much an iterative journey, but one that's worth it if you're serious about modernizing and unifying the talent experience for your candidates and recruiters.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing your experience with us and insights. If I could just say some things that we've been hearing throughout the sentiment of this entire day today is the right team, right? Resourcing and stakeholders internal for our customers and for you all matter, as well as having the right professional services or implementation team. It is a complex digital software. We're always thinking in that space and transformation and leadership guidance, keeping that guiding light and North Star, and the right communication is key. So I've got so many insights from this. I could go on. Thank you both very much for your time today. Thank you for joining our session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Quentin Mackey, Vice President of Professional Services for North America here at Phenom. Customer Accession Day is an exciting event for us each year. It is a moment when we at Phenom get to pause, to celebrate and listen to our customer stories, understand the partnerships, the progress, and most importantly, the people who drives us every single day. Everything we do is grounded in one simple truth. When our customers succeed, we succeed with them. And this year, our GPS team has taken a major step forward in how we deliver that success. We've officially moved where we manage our customer implementation projects into ServiceNow Strategic Portfolio Management Suite, or SPM. Now, that might sound like a technical change, but really, it's about something much bigger. It's about creating a more cohesive, transparent, and streamlined experience for you, our customer. Some of our existing internal partner teams already use ServiceNow today for product support, MSR tickets, and issue tracking. It's a familiar space. It's a trusted platform. So when we set out to modernize how we manage projects and delivery, we asked ourselves a key question. Why not bring everything together in the same system our customers already know and rely on? That single question became one of the principles of our move to ServiceNow SPM. Our GPS team delivers hundreds of projects around the world, each with unique timelines, milestones, and goals. SBM supports our methodology and the way we work, our path to value journey with you. Instead of me talking about it, I have a short video to show you how this will revolutionize our implementation approach and provide a world-class experience for you. Our transition to ServiceNow SDM is just the beginning. It sets the foundation for smart delivery, better visibility, and stronger outcomes for our customers worldwide. To every customer who's partnered with us on this journey, thank you. Your feedback drives our innovation. Your success defines ours. On behalf of the entire global professional services team, thank you for trusting us to deliver the customer outcomes for your talent experience transformation. I'm Quentin Mackey, and I'm proud to be customer obsessed.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Tumolo, and I'm a Senior Director in Global Customer Care. Let me start with a question. During software deployment, what's the most often overlooked part of your project? What's that one thing that most teams don't think about until it's too late? If you guessed support strategy, you're right. And if you guessed it, you either learned it the hard way or you had someone give you the right advice at the right time. Over the years, I've seen it again and again. Teams that plan and implement a support strategy from the start are miles ahead of their users that they're supporting and the leadership teams demanding results. They get value faster, they avoid unnecessary setbacks, and they stay confident in their investment. Think of it like this. You're buying a new car. It's exciting. It looks great. It feels great. And it promises to take you wherever you go. But how far will you get if you never fill it with gas? If you never change the oil or schedule your maintenance? Sure, you can handle some of this yourself, but eventually you'll need help to keep it on the road. That's where global customer care comes in. We are here to guide you, support you, and keep you moving forward. So, are you set up for success? Do you have the right support strategy in place with Phenom? You've already heard from some of our customers about how they've done it. They've built internal triage processes. They've leveraged technical support. They lean into the partnership with Phenom. So if you're still figuring it out, or if you sometimes feel like you're driving solo, you're not alone. But most importantly, you're not out of options. Our North Star is simple: elevating your experience. We want you to feel understood, valued, and supported every step of the way. So we're not just a team here. We're a global family that genuinely cares about your success. That's why Phenom offers tailored support to fit your needs. Whether you prefer self-service, rapid response, or a hybrid model, we meet you where you are. From our standard package, which every customer receives, to our premium offerings, every option is designed with you in mind, shaped by your feedback, your experiences, and our drive to outperform the industry. I could walk you through the packages. I could tell you why I believe they should be a part of your support strategy, but it's always more powerful to hear from those who have already on the road. Think about this. In just 15 months since our rebrand of these packages, nearly 100 customers have purchased these packages. So I've asked you, will you be the next one? Up next, you'll hear directly from customers who chose different paths. Some started small, upgraded over time. Others went all in from the start. They'll share what worked, what they might have done sooner, and how the right support strategy helped them drive value faster. So let's set the cruise control. Let's keep this journey moving with some real stories of support success.
Hi, I'm Ellen Provax, and I lead operations for the talent acquisition team here at Crow. Throughout my career, I've had many different roles in TA. I started off in an operations support role. I've been a campus recruiter, an experienced hire recruiter, and I eventually found my way into leading operations for Crow's TA team. So that combination of roles has just really shaped how I approach making our tools and processes work better for our teams. At Crow, we have a strong focus on technology enablement and really optimizing our use of talent tech. After 2 implementations with Phenom and moving our entire TA team into Phenom as our CRM, we realized there was a gap between what we wanted the system to do and our knowledge of what it was really capable of. That's when we started looking at upgrading our support package. We wanted to close that gap, maximize the platform's potential, and smooth out just some of the early pain points that we were experiencing. The biggest change after we implemented that new support package was having a consistent point of contact. So somebody who is just as invested in our success as we are, who knows exactly how to navigate internally at Phenom to get things resolved quickly, and who's just always there in our corner supporting us. That continuity has been really huge for our team. We've also benefited from some of the tools that came with the package. Our tickets are now monitored more closely and escalated to the correct SME much faster, which has saved us a lot of frustration. Before the tickets could get passed around, now they're moving in the right direction, just right from the start. We also have utilized the APM tool, which helps us monitor for any issues that could be bubbling up and allows us to just step in and mitigate those issues before they escalate any further. It's just really allowed us to have the confidence that things like our job board and our applications are working exactly as we would expect them to. The support model in general, it's just helped stay ahead of issues before they turn into quote fire drills. We can bounce ideas off of our support team member, talk through possible improvements, and sometimes even just spot an issue before it spreads any further. Consistent updates on ticket statuses and next steps have just really also made it much easier for us to keep our team leadership informed and confident that everything is working as we would expect it to. For anybody who is considering that enhanced support package, for us, just know that it's been a game changer. It's drastically improved how our CRM aligns with our processes, and it gives us just peace of mind. If something goes wrong, we know it's going to be investigated and resolved as quickly as possible. That's really just worth its weight in gold. And thanks again to Phenom for having me today. Appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick Maslick, Global Customer Care Lead here at Phenom. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Alyssa Price, Talent Project Manager over at Waste Connections, to speak about her overall experience with support over here at Phenom. Alyssa, how are you?
Doing fantastic. I'm so glad to get to talk to you when I don't have a question or a desperate need. So this is fantastic.
Good to see you again. So you were a speaker last year and you're back. It's been a full year later and a brand new support package. Tell me a little bit why you decided to upgrade your support package.
So obviously we had gotten to work with you since we started with Phenom, which was an absolutely amazing experience. And I think through our interactions, what we realized is that we have a big platform with Phenom, and that's certainly something that we want to work as well as possible. And we want to focus more on the kind of growth related pieces of that, more so than really not knowing, right? Do we have the best system set up, right? Do we have the products that we need? And so when we were considering going to the premium support package, I think one of the things that really pushed us to that side was the fact that one of the things that we've sought with Phenom as a partner is efficiency for our recruiters, and keeping them in Phenom day in, day out versus going back and forth between our CRM and our ATS was very important to us. As I know you know very well, Patrick, we've got over 280 operating brands in the United States, and keeping all of those different websites aligned, keeping all of our ATS kind of interactions, because we do have the two-way integration between Workday as our ATS and then Phenom as the CRM. All of those things to say that we knew that there was a lot of efficiency to be gained by having someone looking at the system, making recommendations. Are we running it as efficiently as possible? Are we taking new products when they come out and incorporating them into our work versus just, saying, hey, there was a new release, but we're not really utilizing it yet. So I think that with the premium support package, knowing that we have someone looking at our back end and constantly asking us about, are you optimizing this? Are you optimizing that? Was really just the best use for our company to be able to maximize everything that we want to do with Phenom, and then just constantly kind of be ahead of the curve. And in the year that we've had that premium support package, I really feel like now when a new release comes out, we're ready for it. We know how to implement it. We've already talked about it. And that feels really good, especially in the ever-changing world of technology.
That's amazing, and it's so great to hear. How has having the extra layer of support changed the way that your team uses the platform day to day?
I think with certainly kind of your support in the beginning, right? A lot of that was very focused on our CMS, right? Getting all of our websites up to date, making sure that that messaging is what we want it to be, and being able to change it, right? That's certainly a benefit of having access and being on the creative end of our own website, is being able to keep it up to date, being able to put out employee, engagement alerts and things like that. So we've really enjoyed being up to date with that. And I think that that's something that we've never really had on our career site before, is kind of up to date changes and constant changes. So that's been a new and very, very important tool for us for our recruiting. And then our technical lead, Mairead, I cannot glow about her enough. I mean, she stays on top of everything that, again, is kind of coming down the pipeline. She knows our business back to front. So she knows the type of positions that we recruit for. She knows our recruiting team structure. She even knows some of our super users in our different regions and works individually with them, even outside of our overall customer support contract. And again, that's something that I really appreciate and love, that she has that insight into not only our needs from a technological side, but our team dynamic as well.
That's awesome. And I know it was great to see that partnership develop, as well as I was able to hand off Waste Connections over to Mairead to see that partnership build. Speaking of Rady, can you speak of some of the ways that she helped bridge those gaps, specifically around the Appcast integration?
Absolutely. So we actually met Appcast at I Am Phenom a couple of years ago. We're really impressed with the programmatic offerings that they had, especially, again, having a lot of different brands, right? Sometimes it's very hard to encapsulate and message that in an effective way. And we were really impressed with their willingness to work with that process. So it's been a great partnership thus far. But then it's that secondary piece, right? Like, the information that you get when you're using a system is only as good as the information that you're putting in, right? Trash in, trash out. That's a trash industry joke. So, but having said that, having her behind the scenes as a party in the room when we're talking to that vendor, making sure that, again, when we're configuring something and putting it into play, that we're not just doing it where it's going to work, maybe 3 to 6 months, and then we're going to have to look at it again. She really is taking that holistic view with, what she knows, maybe in development, maybe on the roadmap on the Phenom side, and then making sure that we're breaking it down to bite-sized pieces. We've seen a lot of efficacy in not going like full slam with a lot of implementations, right? We take pieces of it and we put it together. And again, it feels like you have kind of an expert in the room that knows your company and is putting those pieces together, so that as you're building, you're not going to have to go back and fix it months and days down the road. And that's certainly something that I think is beneficial.
That's such an incredible insight there for that. And thank you for sharing your notes there, which I feel like I know we're going to go here, but I have to ask, which part of the premium package would you say has been the biggest game changer for yourself over there at Waste Connections?
Absolutely, Mairead. I mean, it's literally like having like a genie in the bottle that sits in the background and says, hey, can you look at this, or have you thought about this? And again, just having that partner where we can really focus on our business side, knowing that technology piece is going to be right sized and kind of best fit to us is, I mean, it's amazing. It takes worry out of every day.
That's so great to hear. Continuing on that journey and some of the other perks that we have within the premium support package, there's a lot of self-service tools, right? We have the APM, other things like that. Have you been able to utilize some of those features in the APM and maybe explain some of the areas of opportunity that has provided?
Absolutely. So we are a client that utilizes high volume hiring or workflow automation, and knowing that they are building that out to where we had a great team when we were implementing it the first time around, but knowing that in the future, we're going to have self-service again, just that instantaneous, hey, maybe we need to pivot in this one market because they have very specific needs. Knowing that we have that self-service access and are able to maintain and change it ourselves is really, really cool. And then additionally, when I looked at things like as an OFCCP client. So we do have federal contract programs. And one of the coolest things that we were excited about is that new piece that's coming into the system where it's actually going to look at it from an audit perspective. So again, it's just that additional layer of security and compliance when technology is new, which most technologies that we're using this day and age is, having that additional guideline and kind of safety barrier in the system is again comforting. I feel like we can continue to push the envelope as far as the technology we're using, but also still be in a place where we are, we know from a compliance perspective that we're good as well.
And it's always good to know that you're safe, especially from a compliance perspective. So I'm glad that you were able to shed some light on those insights. As we sort of wrap up our little interview, or more so a chit chat here, as I feel like we've grown to be able to have that, what would you say would be some helpful tips for some listeners here that maybe either are on the fence with potentially shifting from their package to premium, or those that have newly acquired premium support package to help get some of the best use out of that package?
I think that one of the best things that we did right when we got that support package is we kind of did a system health check, right? Are we actually utilizing everything that we're paying for, right? Companies, obviously, we're not going to use a tool unless we can provide the ROI for it. And so having a direct connection to be able to say, here's what we've implemented, here's the impact it's having. That's certainly been crucial for being able to communicate up the line why a support package like this is necessary. And then in addition to that, I think that you really get to see that from the time that we implemented it to now, the utilization of the different tools in the system has skyrocketed. And we're tracking that, right? So it's not only do we know that we're using this tool that we purchased to the best of our ability, so you get the good feeling there, but then you also know that you are continuing to upskill your recruiting team and keeping them closest to the new technologies that are coming out. And I feel like that is, again, just something from an adaptability perspective that recruiting teams should really focus on right now. It's so easy to fall behind with everything that is new and that's coming out. And unless you have an expert guide, I think it's very easy to do that. So looking at your own roadmap and pipeline, where do you want to be 2 to 3 years down the road from a talent acquisition perspective, knowing that you have a partner that's keeping you on that leading edge, I think is the push that everybody should take a look at.
Alyssa, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for your time today. It was so great to hear your insights on not only the support package, but those that are involved on the Phenom side to continue that partnership with Waste Connections. So thank you again for everything, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.
It's always a pleasure, Patrick. Thank you so much.
My name is Marie Drake. I am a technical support account manager here at Phenom, and I'm here today with Melinda from Regions.
Yes, very excited to be here. I'm Melinda Littleton with Regions Bank. I'm a senior talent marketing partner, and I lead our talent marketing team, which is focused on delivering the best-in-class talent experiences for candidates, recruiters, hiring managers, and beyond. We look to leverage all of the tools that we have available to move forward our talent marketing efforts and our award-winning employer brand.
Awesome. So Melinda, Regions has a really strong internal process of empowering those users. What approach do you take to this, and how does partnering with a technical support account manager or leveraging some of our advanced troubleshooting tools aid in that process?
Yes, so the way that we have our team structured really helps to support and maximize the partners that we work with at Phenom. And so we have an admin team that is dedicated to the administration of the platform, the support that's needed to make sure it's optimized and that we're leveraging all of the tools and features for it. In addition to that, for our recruiters, we have a coaches program. So these are super users that are recruiters on our talent acquisition team that are really our eyes and ears. They're in the tool using all of the features that we have, and they're able to surface areas that need addressing if it's a technical issue or something isn't working as expected. So our admin team can go into the system, triage, validate, and help determine, is it a knowledge gap, how the tool is expected to function? Is it a potential product enhancement, something that the tool doesn't do today? today, but we would like it to, or is it ultimately a defect? When it's a defect, our team helps to really capture what that defect is, what that issue is, make sure that we're documenting it effectively, and then we will work with the customer care team, including you, Mairead, and the support team in submitting tickets, providing that documentation within the tickets, providing enough detail to really help capture what's going on. And that helps for those tickets and those interactions to run as smooth as they can. And then thinking about some of the integrations that we have between our ATS and Phenom, we use a lot of the self-service tools within HRIT Hub, including APM, where we're able to see the integrations around our apply. If there are issues that we're seeing, maybe it's failed applies, or if we're seeing an uptick in incomplete applies. We can also see from our job feed, making sure that that's running as expected. And then also our hiring status integration, making sure that those hiring statuses are flowing between Phenom and our ATS, and be proactive.
So are those self-service tools like HRIT Hub and APM, are you finding that those help assist knowing how to balance kind of self-service and partnership when you're going back to your coaches to provide feedback to them versus when you're raising items to me that you might have questions about, or even going directly to the GCC support portal?
Yes. So where we really start when our recruiters or our coaches are surfacing issues is we will leverage HRIT Hub, APM, and even the CRM itself and look at what's going on with that particular report. And it'll help us to isolate the dynamic with that specific report. What we'll also do is we'll utilize those tools for other examples. We'll look at other candidates, other workflows to see if we're seeing some similar behavior. This is particularly important with hiring status integration. If a particular issue is around the integrations coming into Phenom, what's the timing of that? What's the action that occurred? Does that align with the expected behavior? And in those cases, it may be going back to the recruiter, confirming what the expected behavior is for the platform, as opposed to needing to go into the support portal and submit a ticket. That's where the self-service capabilities are really helpful, where we can see those real-time integrations. We can see that activity, and we can also have just direct access to those candidates real time that we can use to further research what may be going on with that particular issue. Again, validate that it's expected behavior, or if it isn't, something that we can put into the GCC portal via a ticket. And in the ticket submission process, we are very focused on providing documentation, providing enough details so that who we're working with, that they have all the information that they need on the front end. And that's been really helpful for us in not needing to have as much back and forth. We've triaged the issue on the front end. We've utilized those self-service tools, validated what the issue is, and then being able to share that within the support portal.
Yeah. And just to say, like, we are always super grateful for your very thorough documentation. You guys are really great about that. I know when like a ticket comes in from regions, it's well researched. We have a lot of details there, and even beyond the self-service capabilities in that we've provided. You guys, I know, go into the CRM, like you said, and have built out kind of ways to catch things early there as well.
And I'll add into it, what's really helpful with our coaches is when we do have tickets resolved through GCC, being able to go back to our recruiters, share with them the update, help us validate that the issue has been completed. So that is something from just a feedback loop that our recruiters and our coaches really appreciate, that instead of them having to work directly with support, provide documentation, go through those additional steps individually. They're very helpful with us in scoping an issue.
Yeah. I think we've had this conversation a little bit before, that some of the most valuable stuff within customer care and using the product is empowering you with the knowledge to go back to your internal team. And that those self-service tools are a really great way that you don't even have to enter the portal or come to me. Those are things that you can check right away and have an answer on.
Yeah, exactly. Even outside of hiring status, I think the job feed has been really helpful as well. If a recruiter's not seeing a position posting or it's not on our career site, being able to go into those self-service tools or even into our ATS and come to find out the position was scheduled to be taken down, instead of submitting a support ticket, being able to self-service that and validate, oh, it was, again, a scheduled posting that was coming down. That's why it's not posting versus showing as posted versus something going on with the integration.
So during our weekly connect, we do try to move past just conversations on the tickets. Would you be able to talk about how we work together and how that kind of positions regions for future growth?
Yeah, absolutely. Our weekly meetings for support tickets, we do go through them as needed, but that's really evolved into talking about initiatives or projects or features that we're looking to enable in the platform or that we have planned to enable in the platform. We have discussions around that enablement process, what that needs to look like. We do a lot of work in staging, looking at features from product release that we've turned on in staging, understanding their functionality, what documentation do we have for that functionality. And we're also socializing those features with our recruiters, with our coaches, verifying and validating the value add as it relates to our workflows, which luckily enough, almost all of them do. So it is a great way that we can share internally with our recruiters what's coming and to get them excited about these features, as well as working through what's needed to turn on those features in production. So a lot of discussion is focused on that, making sure we're thinking through what that enablement process needs to be, both from just a technical enablement, but also from a training and adoption perspective as well. Again, that's a really great way that we can have that partnership from an awareness, from a value add, and also making sure that we're taking all the steps needed as changes are made in the platform. We're initiating those changes, that we really have a full understanding of how those features work, especially involving integrations, considering any downstream impacts when we're enabling certain features or adding features into the platform through MSRs. They're a part of our weekly meetings with Mairead and the GCC team. We also have meetings with them internally as well, providing ongoing education around Phenom, having discussions about roadmap items that we talk and partner with Phenom on, thinking of needs that we have with the platform and potential additional integrations with between our HR tech systems as well as with Phenom. And that's been extremely helpful and valuable for us. So it helps us all to be on the same page and making sure that we're moving forward in the right ways. It's been a really great partnership and continues to grow really mutually.
I think that stood out to me, and I think I have in the notes here, is that basically like the regions users, especially your coaches, know Phenom so well, and the partnership between GCC has kind of given Phenom an opportunity to know regions. And I think that's kind of the dynamic that we want to tap into for sure.
Yeah, knowing the why, I think has really led to some aha moments and some watershed moments when we have certain needs, certain MSRs, providing context for why this is needed, how it's going to be beneficial, and to your point, connecting it to getting to know regions, our talent acquisition function, how does it operate within the larger HR ecosystem and even beyond. Having those discussions, again, they're more strategic in nature, knowing that what we're needing may at the end of the day be something more tactical. It definitely connects to something that's bigger within our organization and providing that context, that education, and it's mutual too. We're able to learn from the Phenom platform, again, what it's doing today, how it's expected to function, what it could be roadmap wise. It helps us to know kind of what's possible, and then vice versa.
Yeah, I think one of the things, because even at like the beginning of the partnership, right, like it's this kind of ramp up of learning for myself, like learning the region's ecosystem. But now that I have kind of this insight into your process, these requirements from other internal teams within regions, change management process, things like that, I feel like that empowers both of us to kind of move beyond the individual ticket where you're kind of very narrowly focused, and solving those individual items, to be able to have kind of a broader conversation about like, okay, solving those items, but what's the end goal? What's kind of our future state? And I know that we've even talked about like planning out MSRs decently far in advance. That's something that like there are MSRs that we're gonna have going in about like a month that I think have been kind of on the radar and something that we've been tracking for at least a couple previously. Thank you so much for your time, Melinda. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I appreciate it too. Our partnership has really made a huge difference for us, thinking about where we've started, where we are now, where we're planning to go in the future. Our partnership is extremely critical. We think of GCC the same that we think about customer value, and just having those relationships, those partnerships. We're just very appreciative of all the support from you and the team.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to keep working with you.
Same.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shrikant, Director at Global Customer Care at Phenom. Success stories like these remind us why having the right support makes all the difference. Curious to see which support package is right for your team? Check out phenom.com/gcc-support-packages or chat with our account manager or account executive. They are pros at matching teams with exactly what they need. All right, let's keep the energy going and dive into our next session on value maturity.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy Bono, Senior Vice President of Account Management for North America here at Phenom. First, I want to thank you for joining us for Customers Obsession Day. We created this day to reflect our deep commitment to one thing, your success. Whether you've been a partner for years or you're just getting started, we're here to meet you exactly where you're at. Some of you are thriving and scaling fast. Others we know have things we still need to work through together. And some of you are just now looking to make your next big investment in AI. Wherever you sit on that spectrum, this message is for you. Because what we've learned across every stage of maturity is that a structured plan and a partnership can accelerate success, no matter where your starting point is. Now, at Phenom, we think in terms of maturity curves. We talk in maturity curves, and we use it to help our teams support you more intentionally and personally. We typically see 3 stages. You're either foundational, you're launching, learning, getting live, scaling, you've got momentum and you're expanding adoption or your use cases, optimizing, potentially you're focused on advancing your value realization, automation, and driving to your executive outcomes. We also know maturity doesn't mean being perfect. It means having a clear sense of where you are, where your appetite is, your pace of change, and building a plan to keep moving forward together. And that's where our automation intelligence workshops come in. These are designed to really assess your current state, explore what's possible, and create a practical, tailored plan for what comes next. If you haven't done one yet, our account management teams and our other teams are ready and eager to support you. Here's a simple, powerful framework we use to kind of help all customers on the maturity and maximize the value of their Phenom partnership. One, I think the most important thing is to align on outcomes. Let's not just talk about features or products. What is it that matters to your business the most, and how do we align solutions to that so we can drive outcomes? Is it faster time to hire so we can unlock unrealized revenue? Is it better engagement with your customers? Is it reducing your attrition? Through our workshops, our boot camps, our business reviews, we will work with you to define those outcomes that tie to real business value and align to your internal priorities. Secondly, we want to drive adoption with intent. It doesn't happen by accident. It is not a set and forget it. This type of platform requires focus, clarity, and communication and alignment. And we recommend starting small and coming up with early wins and using change champions to drive momentum. And if your team doesn't know what's in it for them, we can help you solve that too. Next, we need to measure what matters. The right metrics keep everyone aligned, whether you're tracking time to fill, internal mobility, or AI-driven outcomes will help you connect KPIs directly to your business case. So you can show progress, make informed decisions, and really keep gaining traction and value out of the relationship. Next is iterate and expand. Once the foundation is strong, the real fun begins. This is where we can do pilots, we can do automation and co-innovation with you. You don't have to roll everything out at once, but don't stop moving either. The pace of innovation is accelerating fast around us, and staying ahead means having a plan to evolve. If you're ready to get ahead of the curve, we have incredible opportunities to co-innovate with you. Customers who want to be out front are seeing unbelievable results by piloting some of our most cutting-edge agents, our intake agents, or our voice screening agents, or even our fraud detection agents that will help you protect your brand and reduce your risk. These aren't science projects, they're real solutions, and we're seeing real results and real value based upon the success already. If you're interested in piloting, let us know. Your team is ready to partner. And if you're not quite ready, that's okay too. We offer boot camps designed to help you build internal alignment, assess your AI governance requirements, gain approvals from executives for a formal plan. The key is to do something, because standing still in today's market just isn't a strategy. Here's what some of our most successful customers have in common. They have strong executive sponsorship. They align their talent strategy, organizational strategy with business goals, and bring leaders into the conversation early. Next, we do quarterly, sometimes even monthly check-ins to reassess, realign, re-energize the team. It's not just about looking back, it's about where we're going next. And we have clear focus. We don't try to boil the ocean. We start with a use case. We start with 1 or 2 high impact areas, and then we expand once we see success. We identify adoption champions. These are folks that can identify opportunities. They might be hiring managers, TA leads, HR business partners who can help us drive usage and momentum. And then once we see success, we can measure it and build a story around it to share others. And so this success can drive more success. So wherever you are today, the key is to keep moving, because the pace of innovation is only accelerating, and those who act, who assess, align, advance are the ones who are winning now. So here's my ask of you today. Connect with your Phenom team, connect with your account manager. Let's book a session, whether it's an automation and intelligent workshop, a boot camp, a quarterly business review, an executive business review, and let's assess where you are. Let's clarify what's next and build a plan to get there. We are absolutely obsessed with your success, and we're ready to roll up our sleeves and make it happen. Thank you all for your time, your trust, and your partnership. Let's grow together.
Welcome, everyone. I am thrilled to be joined by the amazing ladies from Baylor Scott & White Health, Stacy and Whitney. They are based out of Dallas, Texas, and they have been incredible partners with Phenom since 2020 when they started their journey with us. And today we're going to dive into the critical point of any implementation, right? Which Baylor Scott & White, this group knows a lot about. What happens after the go live, right? So how do you take the work from the first 90 days and turn it into measurable outcomes, retention of users, lasting success that you started to invest in the tools that you purchased, and now we're going to take it to the next step. So we are going to start with you, Whitney. When you think about, you've obviously had a lot of times that you've been through this, right? But when you think about the first 90 days post-launch, what are some of the most important, early indicators, around the adoption piece that you start to think about?
I mean, the first 90 days are the most important. It's where we kind of set the standard of what's to come, what recruiters can expect, and even what candidates are coming to expect. And we're solving for not only recruiter pain points, but I believe also we're solving for candidate pain points. And we had an early win. As soon as we set up Phenom for our career site, we went from about a 27-minute application process to under 9 minutes, which is huge. I mean, that saves frustration from the candidate perspective. People are more likely to finish applications because they're not taking as long. And in return, then recruiters are getting more applicants, more qualified applicants, and people that are less frustrated coming through our application process. That actually helps improve our credibility across the organization with adoption. And then teams begin to lean into the system even more. And as we start rolling out new adoptions, they're more ready to take on the challenge of learning a new tool in order to see the efficiencies that come with it. There's an education piece that comes with the first 90 days and any rollout after to make sure everybody's equipped with the knowledge that they need to have. But hiring leaders are working faster and smarter, as well as recruiters are getting candidates to them a lot faster.
Yeah, it's super important. You need to set the tone, right? I mean, you've made the decision to invest in a tool, and you need to get the involvement and the backing of the team to really take it to the next level, right? So, Stacy, when we think about kind of the next step after that, right? I know you've been closely involved from the enablement perspective, right, with the recruiters and the hiring managers, your end users, right? So, what's the thought with Baylor Scott and White? How did you structure the training in the first couple of months? What were some of the approaches that you did to get the team feeling confident in actually using the tool that you've invested in that you purchased in?
Of course. So we really took a blended learning approach to training our recruiters within those first few months and combined on-demand learning with live training sessions to then provide a well-rounded experience. Our team designed a structured learning plan to guide users through the Phenom Explorer modules, which actually helped build a solid foundation within the platform that then aligned with their role in talent acquisition. Live sessions led by our programs team complemented the self-paced learning by addressing questions, filling in the knowledge gaps, and providing that real-time support. Our programs team also held regular office hours, which became a great space for ongoing learning and deeper dives into specific features. We even invited our Phenom CDM, Maddie, to join as a guest during our Back to the Basics series. So having those different voices and approaches and those perspectives really made that experience more engaging and relatable for our recruiting teams. What we believe really helped build the confidence and drive adoption was our culture of openness to feedback. We consistently raise our hands to be beta testers because we're eager to explore those new tools early on. We're very transparent with our recruiters when we do this, so we do let them know upfront that some features may still be in development, but this honesty really fosters a sense of ownership, especially among our innovators and early adopters, by giving them that direct role in shaping the product. And then when their feedback is reflected in these real enhancements, it not only builds trust and excitement, but really helps bring even the more hesitant members along that journey.
And I love that you touched on that, Stacy, because that is absolutely how your organization approaches this. You want to get in, you want to start early. You want to help co-build with the product team. It helps that you're able to get some of the features that are unique to you into the product, which then, kind of sets the tone for the rest of the product moving forward, right? And your openness to doing that is really crucial in development with the product because it shapes the success for everyone else. So love that you guys are a part of that with every single product that you've ever gone through. So Whitney, when we think about everyone's favorite topic, integrations, right? So more and more stakeholders are having to be involved now, right? In the healthcare industry, data is super important with personal information from your customers and from your employees, right? So when you think about the integrations, brings its own set of challenges along with it, right? Can you share how, you approach integrating Phenom with your existing systems? Maybe some lessons learned, who might need to be involved in the process? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, there's several things that go into this. I think involving everybody who needs to be a part of the conversation earlier rather than later, so we know what to expect, how to roll things out, and education is very important. But one of our biggest challenges was ensuring that our data was consistent between our ATS and Phenom. And we knew that adoption would suffer if the recruiters didn't feel like it was seamless, if they felt like there was too many extra steps, or that when they were making changes and the changes that were supposed to be reflecting weren't happening, would actually drive adoption in the opposite direction of which we wanted to go. And then we also wanted to eliminate any duplicate steps and prioritize recruiter ease of use. So we partnered really closely with our HRIS team early on to make sure we were testing everything properly, that we knew exactly how the functionality was going to work before it rolled out. And if there was any hiccups, that we caught them before going live. And this helped increase our adoption. When we did roll out anything, we rolled it out in phases, and we also kind of created our own internal marketing campaigns that worked with this. So putting everything together in quick training sessions, highlighting any new tools that would be beneficial and time saving, having office hours similar to what we're doing now, where any recruiter can come and call in and be like, hey, I'm working through this. Is this a me thing? Is this a system thing? If it's a system thing, how do we get it fixed quickly? And then creating feedback loops where recruiters could really share what is slowing them down, and is this improving our pain points, or did it make it a little bit more difficult, and how do we improve what we're working on from there? So all of this feedback helps us influence the product enhancements and improved efficiency. It strengthened recruiter trust into the systems that we were rolling out, and it made it a lot more seamless across the board.
Yeah, and I love what you said there, and like the training from an adoption perspective doesn't just stop after day one, right? The integrations are not just turned on and then we forget about it. These are integrations that need to be supported. The business changes along the way. Is there anything that you do around continuing to evolve with the integrations just to make sure that everything is set up based off of the business needs today?
I mean, for sure. We're always looking at where our goals are and where we're driving towards, and do the tools that we're currently using meet those needs? And if they don't, can they meet the needs? And can we adjust where that needs to be? And I think the continuous office hours that our team has put on with training and updating gives us that information and keeps that feedback loop open, and making sure that we're providing what we need and that we're on the right track for where we're trying to go.
So Baylor has made the decision to move forward with a particular tool, right? The training has been set up, the integrations are set up, the enablement is set up. Now we need to start to measure the actual success of the tool itself, right? Whether that's 90 days after or a year after, right? Or 2 years after. So this could be for, either of you. What are some outcomes that have stood out as you start to kind of evaluate the success of any particular tool that you bring in?
I think some of the most standout outcomes were clear efficiency gains. So for our recruiters and candidates, the scheduling tool really created some real-time savings, eliminating back and forth and getting interviews locked in much quicker than what we were able to do prior to this tool. So these improvements not only enhanced our candidate experience, but really gave our recruiters and our hiring managers more confidence that the platform was accelerating and aligning to our business goals even more. And then we also took a look at, scheduling even faster with our implementation of the fast track, also known as high volume hiring. This significantly improved our interview to hire ratio. Before our pilot, we really saw an average of 7 to 1. So 7 candidates were interviewing for just that one offer. And then our post-pilot data indicated a much leaner 3 to 1 ratio. So we were no longer over interviewing and could move more qualified candidates forward more efficiently.
And I want to add something in because I think that's important, and that's part of our internal marketing process to gain adoption is the people that are taking advantage of the tools and using it. Anytime we see a time savings, and Phenom, you guys have done a really great job of sharing this on our QBRs, like what's the average time it takes to do this task and how much time have we saved with all of the automations that we have in place. We take that information back and we share it with the teams and say, hey, you could have an hour and a half back in your day with scheduling if you use this tool. And that time could be spent either having longer conversations with candidates or doing research on the harder to fill roles. And so I think taking that and really looking at the time saved on these tools and where that time could go and be invested in that candidate experience is helpful.
Yeah, and what I love about you all is you give so much great feedback on the products itself, but you're so open to the feedback from Maddie and the team around recommendations to just get better as a team, right? So there's a lot of releases that come out. There's a lot of enhancements, and you have to kind of pick and choose what's what. But you take the feedback and you bring it into the team, and you start to incorporate some of those things in. So when you think about the training long term, right? There's a constant evolve to get better from the team. It's easy to go from a spike right off the bat, kind of dip down a little bit, and then have to retrain the team, a year or two out. So how do you keep the momentum going long term with the team actually utilizing the tool from an adoption perspective? What processes are you working on maybe with some of your champions internally to kind of keep that going?
I think it kind of goes back to some of the answers we've already talked about. We have weekly calls set up with Phenom already. So on those calls, we're either fixing things that need to be fixed, or we're talking about new features that are coming, or we're trying to figure out how we can automate or optimize any of the current tools that we already have. And I think having those weekly meetings keeps Phenom fresh of mind, keeps our tools on top of where they need to be, but also gives us an opportunity to take back the new features that we've learned and any of the product releases back to the team and incorporate it in our conversations with recruiters or, the talent acquisition managers and making sure they're using it. And I know Stacy has a little bit more to share on that as well.
Yes, that's all very important. But I think, Whitney even touched on this a little bit earlier on, but continuous learning. So not only do we host our office hours, but we've actually established 2 of our own recruiters will now co-lead training sessions alongside of our Phenom CBM. So this has really helped build trust and credibility even more with our broader teams, because it's not just, myself or someone from our programs team showing you how to use this tool, but you're gaining insights and, best practices from your colleagues, somebody who is also leaning into this day to day for their recruitment processes. And so this has really helped, our learning space and leveraging those items. And because we're also looking for creative ways to keep engagement high, we've recently launched a usage contest. So both individually and team-based, but it's a fun way to really reinforce those best practices while encouraging that adoption. So, who doesn't really like a friendly competition?
Yeah, and it's those things that I think make you all so great at what you do there, because it's really easy with the amount of tools that the recruiters have to just follow 1 or 2 things, and there's always, when there's new things constantly being added, sometimes it can be difficult. It can be a little overwhelming with where should I go to do what, and laying out driving contests, making sure that the team is using it, having office hours, doing things that you can be doing to kind of continue the growth down the road. You guys do a great job of that. So, if you could step back and maybe give some advice around an organization who is just entering, a go live or a post 90-day go live, what would you recommend to a customer who's maybe just going through this?
Starting with all of the parties involved from the beginning to put kind of game plans together and making sure that you know the ins and outs of the tool and that all of the parties that are touching the tool feel comfortable in it is super important. I think about even just the relationship between Stacy on the programs team and myself on marketing and sourcing. Stacy is working diligently to optimize the tool for the people that are using it, where the marketing and sourcing team are working diligently to put in new leads in the system and constantly fill it with candidates that are potential good fits for our organization, and creating more opportunity for recruiters to find the right candidate in one location versus them having to go hunt it down on several different sites, or go look at other resume databases. Like, we're trying to get everything in one spot for them and to really optimize that. And I don't think that could have happened without HRIS being involved early, Stacy and programs being involved early, marketing and sourcing being involved in how we're promoting the roles that we have, recruiters being involved with their feedback and how they're using the tool. So I think it's just being open and honest about what's coming, what features are available, and how can we use it to the best of our ability on every team that's involved, and how we're supporting each other doing that.
I 100% agree. And just to really piggyback off you, Whitney, do not underestimate the power of collaboration. Like, from the start, from the middle, throughout the entire journey, really bringing in your SMEs to the table. So whether that's your recruiters, your hiring leaders, or those other departments that Whitney has already mentioned, when you feel that ownership, when you get to be involved, whether it's those co-led trainings or sharing your feedback to, further enhance a tool or make suggestions, I think it really helps build that momentum when it's coming from the end users and not just from your leadership.
I love everything that you say there. Phenom would not be in the position that we're in without you all and customers like you. If we could have 1,000 customers exactly like Baylor Scott and White, I think we would take it tomorrow. Thank you so much, Stacy and Whitney, for being here. You guys are amazing at what you do, but you really take the time to work with Phenom and to work with your internal stakeholders to get to the spot that you are. So thank you for being customer obsessed, and we have a lot of years left to go. So
thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you for having us.
I've been part of Bright Horizons for over 20 years, which has given me the opportunity to observe the evolution and adaptation of our talent acquisition function. When we started our journey with Phenom in 2021, I was excited because I strive to have a forward-thinking, why not attitude. I love trying new things and identifying opportunities where technology and people can converge to solve real business challenges. My team owns our career site and aligns an attraction strategy across multiple territories and job functions, so flexibility and collaboration are critical for us. From day one, our Phenom account team has been an extension of our team. Through every phase, launch, expansion, and now maturity, they've helped us innovate and iterate on our recruitment marketing approach, while remaining receptive to our feedback and platform enhancement ideas along the way. Launching new products with Phenom wasn't just about turning things on. It was about having a value success plan, something we rely on to keep both our day-to-day partnership strong and our long-term goals clear. As we moved from launch into expansion, our primary focus became empowering users. We realized that to get the most out of the platform, we needed to level up everyone's skill set, support their ongoing learning, and truly listen to user feedback. There's always some change adversity, but by collaborating across TA, systems, and the business, we kept our efforts grounded in a shared why. I value the openness of our partnership with Phenom. Both our teams are willing to have the tough conversations and work together transparently. We talk about what's working, where the challenges are, and never shy away from a pain point because we know it's all part of the improvement process. Now that our approach has matured, we're looking further ahead. We continue to customize, look for those white space opportunities, and think strategically about new ways to drive value and measure ROI. For us, it isn't just about the numbers. It's about how we use our tools to bring stories to life and provide a candidate-centric experience to make a tangible impact on our job seekers and our organizational priorities. For anyone else on this journey, my advice is to maintain a focus on adaptability and keep the conversations open, both with Phenom and within your own team. At Bright Horizons, this approach allows us to continue learning and improving together.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Change Management Moment. Today, we're going to talk about why ongoing learning and training isn't just a nice to have, it's critical to your success with any CRM. Let's talk about why ongoing learning matters. When we help teams implement our platform, the launch is only the beginning. Your business is dynamic, processes evolve, team members change, and our platform is consistently improving with new features and capabilities. If your end users stop learning after go live, you run the risk of adoption plateauing. People might revert to old workarounds or miss out on time-saving tools we've added. That's why we recommend building training into your regular workflows, so learning becomes part of your team's culture. Ongoing training ensures your people are confident, efficient, and able to maximize the ROI of your investment, not just on day one, but every day. We see across customers many benefits. From our experience, there are 3 benefits to ongoing learning. Greater confidence is number 1. Trained users are more comfortable exploring new features and solving challenges directly in the platform. Higher engagement. When training is continuous, your team stays curious and motivated to use the Phenom tools in smarter ways. Continuous process alignment. As we update capabilities, ongoing learning ensures your workflows evolve along with the product, not lagging behind. Think of it like maintaining a vehicle. You don't just get it tuned up every once in a while. You service it regularly so it performs at its best. A modern SaaS platform works the same way. So how do you put this into action? Regular scheduled training touchpoints, even short 15-minute refreshers can pay off. Celebrate future adoptions. Recognize team members or individuals who try new tools and share results. Leverage self-service resources. Phenom Explorer is updated with regular releases. Make sure your team knows where to find it. Assign learning champions. Empower a few people to be your in-house go-to experts for new features and processes. The point is, learning isn't an event. It's a continuous part of a successful change management. The most successful teams treat ongoing learning as a core part of their change management strategy. Every session, every refresher, every tip you try out brings you closer to the full potential of the Phenom tools. So make sure training isn't just what happens at the start. It's what keeps your team moving forward. Thanks for joining today's Change Management Moment.
Hi everyone, I'm Craig Kaplan, Senior Director, Global Customer Care here at Phenom. And I'm so excited to be with you today at Customer Obsession Day. Because if there's one thing we truly obsess over, it's making sure you feel supported, heard, and successful at every step of your journey with Phenom. Let's talk about something that's not always fun, but is really important. That's escalations. Let's define what we actually mean when we talk about escalation at Phenom. Escalation is not the first step. It's an option available to you when our standard support process hasn't met your expectations. If you've worked with our team on an open support case, be it a service request or a defect, and you still feel like resolution isn't progressing or the service hasn't met your needs, that's when you can initiate an escalation. It's a formal way to say, I need this looked at more closely and I need a new level of attention. This process ensures your concerns are acknowledged by leadership and the right internal teams are looped in to drive things forward. Escalation isn't about jumping the line. It's about getting the right level of visibility when something critical is at stake and making sure you're heard. So when should you escalate? You might consider escalation if it's urgent. The issue is seriously impacting your business and no longer can wait. It's complex. The ticket is beyond the scope of the current support agent, and maybe it needs a deeper level of technical or product knowledge. You're not satisfied. You're feeling frustrated, and a new perspective is needed to break the cycle and move things forward. And finally, lack of progress. It's been a while, and you're not seeing a clear path to resolution. The goal of escalation isn't to hit a panic button. It's to make sure the right people are solving the right problems at the right time. It's about momentum, not friction. And just so you know, when the button is clicked, it does sound the alarms over here. Now you're probably wondering, is Phenom working to prevent escalations? The good news is, we don't want escalations to be something you need often either. In fact, we are working hard to prevent them from happening in the first place. Here's how. First of all, we're working on better training. We're investing in our agents, not just the technical product knowledge, but also how Phenom fits into your business. Because great support isn't just about fixing things, it's about understanding why they matter. We're working on stronger resources. Our internal tools and documentation are getting better every day, giving our agents faster access to proven solutions. We're working on proactive monitoring. We use tools like APM to keep a pulse on the system performance so we can jump on potential problems before they could even cause an issue. We're working on improved cross-team collaboration. We're breaking silos between support and product teams so the people building your solutions are also helping support them and faster, and with more context. All of this helps us shift left from reactive to proactive. And that's how we turn escalations from emergencies into rare exceptions. Now help us to help you. Tell us about setup changes and prevent escalations. Please let us know when you're making any changes to your setup, whether it's a firewall update, changing integration credentials, or modifying fields in a workflow. These tweaks can totally change how our systems behave. When we know about these changes, we can give you guidance, prevent the issues entirely from happening. Sometimes we can flag a conflict before it breaks something. It's as simple as opening a service request and asking a question if a future change will have any impact on your system. If we're already past that point, we can help troubleshoot faster. We know where to look and what changed. And honestly, it's just the best way to avoid those "it broke and we don't know why" moments. At the end of the day, the best support happens when we're in the loop. And we're partnering with you, not just reacting to things after the fact. Remember, escalations are not a failure, they're a signal. One of the best ways to do that is to proactively communicate setup changes, especially when it comes to your ATS or system. So rather than just hearing it from us, let's pass the mic to a Phenom customer who's lived this firsthand. They'll share their real-world tips and experience on how proactively informing Phenom of upcoming changes before they're implemented made all the difference.
Hello, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Dallas Meese. I'm a technical support account manager here at Phenom, and today I am excited to be talking with Cindy about how they've built a stronger partnership with Phenom by improving communication before making ATS changes. We're going to share some real stories, talk about oops moments, aha moments, all about changes to integrations, lessons learned, and how they now prevent issues before they need to even escalate. So, Cindy, let's go ahead and start with introductions.
Well, first off, thanks, Dallas, for having me. My name is Cindy Stansberry. I am a senior vice president as part of a division of HR we call Human Capital Solutions at Truist Bank. We are responsible for the technology. We're not tech folks, but we own the products. And in particular, I own the Phenom relationship. We've been part of the Phenom community now for about 2.5 years. And so in the course of that, we have learned some lessons about what does that mean when we're working with y'all on changes that we need to make. So happy to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you, Cindy. And I mean, I'm pretty sure for the bulk of the 2.5 years that you've been with us, I've been working with you guys directly. So always always a pleasure to talk to people with, that kind of history. What are some times that you can think of where our partnership really paid off for Truist?
Yeah, so here I think there's a couple of different examples that I can talk about. One is when we make changes to our disposition codes, right? So when we are making changes to those, we are a bank, we are highly regulated. We have to make changes to those at times. And so making sure that we're getting over the right business process documentation, all of those changes, making sure that we're letting you know in advance with enough time for y'all to make the changes, us to do all of that testing, and that our partners that manage the ATS, because my team doesn't manage the ATS. Those are partners to us, right? So we need to make sure that they've got the time that they need. Y'all have the time you need. We have the time we need, and that everybody can work through that. I'll tell you another one, though, that really speaks to Phenom, I think. Y'all were doing some monitoring, and you found that on our evergreen recs, applications weren't going through. Well, you notified us and said, hey, we've got a problem. Here's some rec numbers. Your applicants can't apply. And so that was great for y'all to proactively be monitoring that. Let us know. Turns out on our evergreen recs, we have not required the location. And because we don't have location, you don't know which country, therefore you cannot present some of those country specific questions, therefore people can't apply. So it's kind of one of those down we go, right? Down the spiral we go. So what we've now been able to do is take that feedback from y'all, go back internally and say, we need to fix this on the applicant tracking system side, because that will keep it from having that downstream. And that was all because Phenom was doing the monitoring and caught it.
No, and that's a great example as well, because the aha moment might not always come from internally. We do have monitoring on all of your integrations 24/7. So being able to catch an example like that and provide you guys with the aha moment is
right.
Open for us and something that we want to do as much as humanly possible. And you actually just mentioned the need for having country specific, and in some cases even state specific, options available for your apply process. We live in a country right now where all sorts of things are changing kind of, I don't want to say day to day, but we're in a rapidly changing atmosphere when it comes to work,
Absolutely.
to application, privacy, all of that. And it's very important that all of these function together to make sure that we're keeping you guys up to date with all of the, legislation that's coming through. And we don't want you to delay anything. So, having those conversations, having that monitoring is a great way just to get us in front of you if necessary, or, as you've mentioned, just learning from yourself from a few of those aha moments that could have turned into oops, but we caught them at an early stage.
Right. And y'all caught it faster than we were getting reports of it. So that let us get to a solve for that more quickly. So I think it speaks to the collaboration.
And I'm glad to hear that we were even faster than you guys. That's the goal and what we always want to accomplish with monitoring. We mentioned we've worked together for 2.5 years, and there is something that I think Truist does really well, and you've mentioned several times, your ATS partners. You don't handle that side of the technology. You're the Phenom-centric. You've got that whole side of partnership that's there for your ETS. The way that you internally communicate, the way that you bring that partnership to the forefront when working with Phenom, I think is some of the best internal communication, internal working, like teamwork that I've seen amongst several of our clients. So let's talk about that a little bit, how you guys internally communicate, and if you have any tips that you might give any other Phenom clients that work with any ATS. It doesn't even have to be the same specific one that you use.
Yeah, and I think, the way ours is structured, we do have a different group that manage our ATS. We have different folks that handle pieces of our HRIS system as well. And so what we do is when we're thinking about making a change on the Phenom side, we make sure that we have, as part of a standing routine or ad hoc. So we have a standing meeting every 2 weeks, but we can also reach out to people, on an ad hoc basis. But we talk about, hey, we're going to do this. We don't think it has any impact, but does it? Do you need to know? So that we can make sure that from a timing perspective, we're not getting in anybody else's way. Conversely, the owners of our HRIS system, the owners of our ATS system will come to us and say, we're going to do X, Does that impact you at all? And give us that opportunity, because again, we are a highly regulated financial services industry. We also have a strong internal governance. We have select windows of when we can make these changes. And sometimes somebody wants to make a change, doesn't give us enough time to make the changes in the other systems. And so I do think we've got very strong routines about having those communications with other people. Helps that they are a part of my greater team, although I don't work with them day in, day out. But it lets us have that communication and be on top of things. We follow Agile, so we hear about things in PI planning sessions as well. But all of that kind of, hey, hang on, something just triggered. I need to make sure that that doesn't have this downstream impact or that downstream impact. I can't stress enough how valuable that is to have that collaboration communication, and from a timing perspective, right? Because again, you don't want one thing to trip up something else because of timing, lack of knowledge that things were happening, or somebody thinks they can get something done in a shorter time period than what they can, right? So those routines for us are crucial and very well timed, very much time well spent, right? We might spend an hour every couple of weeks, but it is critical for us to be able to manage, because we do have so many integrations between the systems, right? And what you do in one impacts the other. And that for us is just a takeaway that I would strongly recommend. If you don't have the same people managing all of your systems that are integrated, all of your systems that you're feeding data in and out of, that would be my strong recommendation, that you build those in. They help us tremendously.
And that's very well put, Cindy. The more vendors you have, the more specialists you might have on staff that are familiar with each and every single integration or product that you're using. It's very easy to get siloed in that kind of environment. So, your organization, Truist Bank, breaking down those silos, working together, regardless of what piece of tech you're working on individually, I think that is a brilliant way to work. It's saved us a couple of times throughout the last several months, in fact. And it's actually been a pleasure to work with that sort of environment, because you know what's coming, more or less. There are no surprises. You did mention sometimes there's a little bit of a surprise, but we can get ahead of those more effectively with that communication plan.
And to your point, we've had calls where it's not just those of us focused on Phenom, but we've pulled in our enterprise technology partners, our ATS partners, our HRIS partners, and all gotten on calls together to talk things through as we kind of make some of these changes and ensure we're all on the same page. So
absolutely. Bringing every single stakeholder to the table is really the only way to do, I think, successful business.
Right. Because I don't know the inner workings of those other systems, right? I have enough of a working knowledge to be able to think, hey, should we go tell them we're doing this? But I don't know the ins and outs of those systems, just like they don't know the ins and outs of Phenom. So
yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else, Cindy, that you might want to say to anybody watching today about just working with Phenom, especially around the integrations? I know we've covered a lot, but I wasn't sure if there was any sort of parting thought that you may have.
I think the parting thought that I would say is, if you're not sure, ask the question in advance. Put in a service ticket and say, hey, we don't think this will make a difference, but are we missing anything, right? It's better safe than sorry. Clear that in advance, and be able to just make sure that you've thought those things through. Because again, it's easier to ward off the issue than it is to fix it on the back end.
Absolutely. Cindy, as always, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for agreeing to take part in this today. Thank you for joining us and sharing your experience. And I look forward to continuing our partnership in the future.
Thanks, Dallas. Enjoy working with you.
Hi everyone, I am Archana Garg, a development lead within Phenom's Global Customer Care organization. My team specializes in delivering the managed service requests, or commonly called MSRs. Today, I would like to share some details around the MSR process, talk about some tips and tricks to enhance your experience, and focus on some niche areas like accessibility, compliance. So let's start with the basics. For those who have been live with Phenom systems, you may already be aware that we offer two types of MSRs, catalog MSRs and the estimation required MSRs. Catalog MSRs are MSRs that come with predefined development efforts and prices. These MSRs are common requests with standard tiered pricing, so when ordered, an SOW will be triggered for signature within the portal immediately. However, for estimation required MSRs, we determine the price based on the complexity of the request. These MSRs require thorough review by Phenom to confirm feasibility and effort. And if a request is feasible, you will receive an email with SOW link for signature. We constantly review the most common requests received periodically and update our catalog to reduce the time spent in contracting process. The good news is that about 90% of the requests we receive actually fall under the catalog items. So how does that matter? Well, it saves both of us a lot of time because if the request is already part of the catalog, we don't need to do manual estimation or triage. So that saves a lot of time. So we can just select from the list, submit the MSR, and we are already halfway there. But here's where I want to pause for a second. One of the biggest challenges we face is incomplete details in the request. And when that happens, an MSR often gets stuck in awaiting customer response status. Let me give you an example. Say you use Workday as an ATS and you have raised a job pull request. Sometimes the RAS reports are missing or the required fields and test jobs aren't included. Similarly, for apply-related MSRs, one of the most common gaps we faced is around the candidate sources where the applicants are actually coming from. If you provide these details in the RAS report in staging and production, we can move much faster with implementation. So the more details you add upfront, the smoother and quicker the process becomes. Earlier today, we learned a valuable strategy from one of our clients on how they effectively use the catalog MSRs to detail project requirements and obtain preliminary estimates. By leveraging this approach, they can secure the necessary budget approvals before initiating the MSR process. This proactive method not only streamlines their workflow but also ensures that financial resources are aligned with project needs in advance. So let's talk about scope. This applies to all type of MSRs. Having a clear scope defined right at the beginning is very critical. Many a times, what starts as a single request slowly turns into multiple requests, what we call as scope creep. And this naturally impacts timelines. Certain changes could be trivial and communication via portal could suffice. But if there are more than one iterations on the change without clarity, we recommend getting on a call to help align and expedite. Either customer could use the portal to set up the call, or alternatively, you could reach out to the support tier leader to help schedule this. And once we begin, we make sure to keep communication close with timely updates and regular checkpoints. That way, nothing slips through the cracks. Accessibility compliance is another topic I would like to focus on. Given the nature of the requests, which are often tied to compliance and interpretation that tend to be long drawn and require excessive collaboration. When accessibility request comes in, we want to resolve them quickly and we want to resolve them accurately so that our career site remains inclusive and dependable for every candidate who visits. So how does Phenom achieve this? We begin with Phenom Accessibility Checker, which is built on AxDev tool model. This tool scans the entire career site, giving a clear compliance estimate. So right from the start, we know where the gaps are and we can address them before they become blockers. And we just don't stop there. We validate accessibility using multiple lenses, using AxDev tool, Wave, and most importantly, real user journeys with assistive technologies like NVDA and VoiceOver. Because accessibility isn't just about fixing code, it's making sure real people can navigate and apply with ease. Many accessibility requests are already self-service for us in Design Studio today. This includes adding alternative text for images, ensuring area labels are correct, managing color contrast issues, maintaining proper heading structure, checking the focus indicators, and avoiding ambiguous link tests, and even managing the announcement when any link opens in a new tab. However, for areas that are not self-service, our team provides full support for it. While you are free to make your own content updates, Following some simple best practices during these updates will help prevent issues and reduce the need for fixes later. A few examples could be using clear and descriptive headings and link tests, ensuring images having alternative text. Don't just rely on the color alone to convey the meaning. You can add a text or an icon. Check the forms have clear labels and error message to guide the candidates. Make sure everything is accessible using keyboard, not just mouse. Overall, 80 to 90% of the accessibility requests can be directly managed by the customers. That said, there may be few configurations that are less intuitive and may be dependent on CMS settings. So to make things easier, we are planning to create short closer videos and clear descriptions so that you can have a step-by-step guidance wherever needed. From a documentation perspective, we are planning to provide a VPAT document to formalize WCAG 2.1 AA compliance, a clear breakdown of self-serve capabilities with exceptions, clarity on configurations that are preset versus additive. We are also simplifying certain widgets like the Joint Talent Community widget. Soon you will have a new form widget which will be fully self-service. And one quick tip, when you raise an accessibility request, if you can share some details of your testing setup like the page link, the expected versus actual behavior, the WCAG 2.1 AA criteria, the tool or the assistive technology you have used. This will help us replicate and resolve the issue much faster. Our goal is to empower you to manage accessibility confidently while ensuring our team supports you fully wherever self-service isn't yet available, so that our career site remains inclusive, compliant, and dependable for every candidate. Beyond accessibility, rebranding requests are also very common that we come across. For design studio clients, almost all rebranding requests are self-service. Through theme management, you can change system colors, custom colors, apply custom colors, update custom colors and font sizes, and even icons. Basically, you have full control. And don't worry, training videos are available to help you navigate these settings. And every widget in Design Studio is accessible. And if you're a non-design studio, you still have an ability to select your widgets, save them, and reuse them. Finally, let's talk about testing and proof of work. Since our MSRs pass QA in staging or production, we share everything with you, right from test cases, URLs, scope of work, and even proof documents like screenshots and videos. This way, you have full visibility and confidence in the work delivered. And to make it even easier, we have the Phenom community where all the catalog test cases are available for reference. This reduces response time for MSRs and gives you strong starting point before raising an MSR request. To wrap it all, I would say the MSR process is here to give you more clarity, speed, and quality. Whether it's catalog requests, accessibility improvements, or rebranding, the more details you add upfront, the more we align early, and the smoother the experience will be. At Phenom, we truly believe that working closely together, we can make our career site not only compliant and inclusive, but a site that every candidate can navigate with ease. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward for partnering with you further on our MSRs. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's Customer Obsession Day event. I'm Hemanti and I'll be moderating our conversation today. So this year's theme is all about navigating the value realization journey, which is all about guiding the clients through every stage of transformation and ensuring measurable results. And Jet Story is a great example of this in action. And we are really thrilled to have Emily and Gallagher from Jet with us today. Hi, Emily. Hi, Gallagher. It's wonderful to have you here. How are you both doing?
Great. Doing well, thank you.
So our focus today is Jet's journey with Phenom, on how clear communication, collaboration, and persistence came together to create a candidate experience that truly reflects your amazing brand. So let's begin with quick introductions from both of you, then dive into the art journey in your own words.
I'm Amelie, a UI UX designer supporting the employer branding team at Just Eat Takeaway, and I've been responsible for shaping the candidate experience and leading the design of the global career site, ensuring it's visually aligned with our brand and provides a seamless, engaging journey for users across all markets.
Hey everyone, my name is Galimir. I'm the Global Employer Branding Lead at JustEatTakeaway.com, or JET, as Hemanti said it. In cooperation with our talent acquisition and people tech teams, I oversee the candidate experience on our global career site.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a great context for our audience. So, Emily and Gallagher, you have been deeply focused on elevating your candidate experience from the very beginning. Could you share the business objectives and recruitment outcomes that you have been aiming to achieve?
Of course, I'll take that one. Our goal is to create a global career site experience that truly reflects the strength and personality of our brand, while providing candidates with a smooth and engaging experience. We wanted a visually modern platform with localized content, rich media, and intuitive navigation that speaks to both global and local audiences. From a recruitment standpoint, our objective was to strengthen our employer brand across markets and offer a scalable, content-driven site that supports hiring efforts with authenticity and consistency.
Wow, that's very clear. Thank you so much. Building on that, so what were the challenges you were aiming to solve and how did we approach it all together?
Yeah, we had a clear and ambitious design vision, over 120 custom pages, videos, localized content, and we needed a partner to help us bring that to life with speed and precision. So managing multiple stakeholders and time zones made the coordination even more complex. However, the CCE team quickly became a trusted extension of our own. They turned around high-quality pages at an impressive pace, were highly responsive during every review round, and adapted to evolving needs without ever compromising on design accuracy. They consistently delivered pixel-perfect results while keeping communication clear and efficient.
Excellent. Great, Emily. So the fact that you have joined here us today tells us that you're really happy with our services. So which of these aspects, like is it the design execution, communication, or collaborations, what really stood out for you?
Yeah, we are happy. The speed and quality of execution were outstanding. The CCE team worked incredibly fast while staying detail-oriented and collaborative throughout. Whether it was building new pages or incorporating some last-minute changes, reviewing QA feedback, they were always responsive and also solution-focused. And the ability to move quickly while staying aligned with our brand really stood out to us.
That's wonderful to hear from you guys, Emily and Gallagher. And from your perspective, what made this collaboration with our team truly effective for you?
Yeah, I'll take that one. What made the collaboration so effective was really the combination of speed, precision, and strong communication. The CCE team didn't just deliver on the brief. They were proactive partners who understood our goals, respected our timelines, and worked closely with us every step of the way. Their commitment to getting things right, even on tight timelines, played a huge role in the success of this project. Impressively, they even managed to complete the work faster than originally scoped, to everybody's surprise, I think, without ever compromising on quality. So, it's been great collaborating together.
We are really grateful for your trust, Emily and Gallagher. Your partnership and clarity made it seamless for us to deliver successfully. So thank you so much, Emily and Gallagher. We are truly grateful for your partnership, and your journey shows how the vision and collaboration can transform into measurable results. It's always been a pleasure working with you guys, and we are really excited for others to experience your new career site, which looks amazing.
Yeah, we're really grateful as well, Hemanti. Thank you very much. And it wouldn't have been possible without your leadership and also Rakesh's help. So you really turned our ambitious vision into a reality, and also with such precision and speed. So we're very grateful.
Thank you so much.
Hi again. What an incredible day it's been. Customer Obsession Day 2025 has reminded us that success isn't built on technology alone. It's built on people, on collaboration, and on a shared obsession with driving outcomes that matter, all around finding a billion people the right work. To all of our clients who joined us today, thank you for your partnership, your passion, and your trust. Your feedback and your stories inspire everything we do. Keep the conversations going, take what you've learned today back to your teams, and let's keep raising the bar together. Here's to another year of partnership, progress, and yes, customer obsession.